Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GPX podcast. I'm your host, Tony, with my esteemed, illustrious, bodacious guests, Nat.
British.
I don't know why I say guests. We're all on the same team. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what this means. Guests, not my guests, my
Panel.
hosts, panel,
Esteemed
Panel's a good
panel.
I
one.
esteemed
Yeah,
panel. Yeah, I don't know why I said guests, but anyways, we
that's
have a
just what you
lot to
truly
cover
think of
today.
us, yeah, guests. But
Yeah,
we have a
yeah,
lot to cover today. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I'm the one. I'm heading the ship. Apparently, I'm Luffy. I
yeah.
wish. Not at all. I don't have the cool red shirt like Mr. Sarge does. But speaking of things that are red, Nintendo. We got a lot of Nintendo talk today. A lot of Xbox. Not so much PlayStation. I don't
Although
think.
the state of play did happen fairly recently.
Anybody watch that?
I did.
How was it?
Nothing to write home. Only one big announcement that I think two announcements that came out of it were pretty interesting. One is, of course, the RE4 Separate Ways DLC, which should be dropping today as we speak. And the second announcement, they kind of made it like so it's like not paid. It's like, oh, Mercenaries gets a free update, but it's actually $9 if I'm not mistaken. And the other big announcement is Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 Rebirth. It got a massive trailer and a date that could come once every 4 years. February 29th is when it comes out. Super excited. I feel bad because Nat, you got like so little time, too many games.
Hopefully,
And
yeah, that's my Year's resolution is to finish Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1.
yeah, and if anybody tells you to go play the original, tell them to go suck a lemon because
Well, I have
we
done that already. Yeah, so I'm
yeah,
I'm primed pretty much. Yeah, I've already
just
finished the original.
so there you go.
Actually, about last year, I think. Yeah, so
Mhm.
mm.
And I think we also got a date. No, we already had a date for Tekken.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yep.
There's some small games in there, you know. Like I forget, it was like the first trailer they showed where the guy couldn't walk. It's like the walking game. Um,
Okay.
who
It's
made
Walking
that?
Billy's journey for new limbs.
Well, there's a very funny game that a lot of people are trying to speed run, and I think it's like I forget what it's called. Like it's like a climber. You're stuck in a pot and you
Oh,
throw.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Is that like Only Up or something like that? I don't remember the
Yeah, is
name.
that
It's gonna
or
drive
like
me
Get
nuts.
Over It or
Get
something. Is that what
over
get
it's
it.
over
called?
Or
it?
is it
Yeah,
getting over it?
hmm
I think. Yeah, yeah,
possibly.
yeah. That was like a
Getting
really
over it with Benny. Is that?
with Bennett
Yeah,
Foddy.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
he Menefati is working on another game. Um, and that game is I forget what it's called.
Oh, interesting.
But that was the opening announcement. It's hilarious because you're on a skateboard and you hit a curb and fall. You try to climb this rocky area and you fall.
I see. I mean,
Baby
that first
steps.
game was like that first game was like super hard. I played it like a little bit, and I was just like, oh my gosh, because he did. I think he did like Q-Wop, Quap, that
Yeah,
freaking game with the legs you were just. I think you were just talking about that first Flash game. Like everyone used to
yeah,
play at school, where you're like the track star, like trying to run with it. That game was a
yeah,
nightmare.
yeah. Do you want to do screen share?
We can screen
Yeah, yeah,
share.
yeah. We can
I don't
screen share
mind.
it.
Yeah, let me try and see if we can do this.
Oh, baby steps. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy. This is gonna be insanely difficult. I already have a feeling.
It looks crazy. So, this trailer was just absolutely insane. Like and the character's called Nate.
Mhm.
Could have called him Matt, but I guess here we are.
Does the pizza box say van pizza?
Yeah. And again,
Oh, oh no.
extremely ridiculous.
This is like my
Extremely,
worst nightmare. Could you imagine like being stuck having to walk like this? Oh no.
you know.
Oh gee.
It's like an open world for people that don't really like open worlds that much.
Yeah,
Oh
it's a literal walking simulator.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the biggest news items from the show.
It's a game.
You know?
Dude, that's nuts. It's that wow, it's that one game I was just talking about, but fully
Yeah.
realized in a 3D world. That's nuts.
Yeah. So like again,
Gosh, those faces are terrifying.
right.
Hello. Oh man. What a strange looking game. The way the guy kicks his leg out. You would think you gotta do this with a keyboard, don't you? How do you do this with a
Yeah.
controller?
It's insane, man. I like it. I think it's really cool. It's really cool.
That
Benny,
looks interesting.
right?
I mean, very frustrating, I would think.
Oh, absolutely frustrating.
Mm.
And then of course we got the separate ways. But as we're talking about the separate ways, what are your thoughts on the game not being absolutely free?
I thought it would have been nice had it been absolutely free. I just think it's a little bit sneaky. They didn't like, they
Yeah.
made it seem like, oh, hey, free thing. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know.
but this is your last chance.
And we got Ada's voice actress back at it again.
That's
Does
why we
it
have a
feel
Japanese
like
voice setting.
she's done better, or is it still exactly the same?
I mean, we'll go
Eat
through.
parasite food.
I know what she's
Touch
going
Amber.
for.
We'll meet up later.
I don't disagree.
Sorry, what
I just
kind
think
of
for
a
this
man
game,
needs
it
a
kind
lady?
of didn't
Oh,
pay
Yeah, I
off.
feel like it wouldn't. That delivery would work for maybe some dramas or something.
Yeah.
Stop
But it
wasting
wouldn't.
my
It doesn't
time,
work
Ada.
because like games are
Just get it done.
by definition like more
keep the
bombastic
client
anyway,
happy.
right? Like
Right.
Something.
I think it's
The mixing feels off. Am I
You two are
nuts?
infected.
yeah.
You must already feel the effects, eh?
I need to put that thing down.
Ah, she
There
defeats
are
the other.
things I must set right.
Verdugo.
Why is this so
Yeah.
important to you?
And if you notice, they got the laser room back.
Ah, okay.
And they also had that weird
Luis.
cavern, sort of like
Goodbye's gonna have to wait.
car ride. A lot of classic areas.
it does
Pretty
look
cool.
cool though. Like
It does.
That's really
the
cool.
like the
For this
gameplay
time.
and the cutscenes look wicked. Yeah.
That all depends on you.
Wesk.
Oof.
Oof.
Wesker himself.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore.
And then
And
they
then
go,
they're
free
gonna be
update,
worse.
mercenaries. You're
That's
like,
what I mean.
"Oh,
That's
it's
what I'm like.
free."
Oh, it's free. Yes,
Hey, right?
everybody, thank you. Like, oh, thank you so much.
Not free, not free.
Uh,
Pay up, pay up. So I'm very excited for that.
Mhm.
But however, this you were saying this isn't even the biggest news of the day. The biggest news of the day is I'm gonna be very honest. Not persona, personality test.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely not Persona, but it's a pretty big news. Well, of today, technically, yeah, it is the biggest news of today's day. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Ooh.
Do you have
New
an English?
Persona.
Sega Asia,
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
PlayStation. Or
No, not
PlayStation?
that one. It's the third trailer. It's PVO3.
Okay.
Mhm.
From one hotel room.
Hey, Penelope Cruz is in Persona?
Wow.
Why don't you have ad
way.
blocker on your computer? You
No, because apparently
It doesn't work
YouTube-
anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't
Ah.
work.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get a
Sponsored
Prime
by
membership.
Emirates.
They took down that
wish.
shadow during the last full moon like it was nothing.
Dude, this game's looking great.
The
I have
classic
no intention of
Japan
relinquishing
station
my
clock.
abilities
I
and
love it.
living an empty life.
Oh, this is what they sound like in English. Okay.
Well, Jin, are they our enemy?
Oh, I
And-
like his voice. Oh, they're our enemy.
I don't know. I'm just a hippie guy.
Persona users just like us.
They called themselves
Yeah, Strega. These are the bad guys.
Somebody's
If you
got a
couldn't
grudge
tell.
against you. And they
The
asked us
Strog,
to
the
get
Strega.
They're just
Related.
hanging out in
Quick.
coffins.
Stay away! Get away from me! You guys don't have the slightest clue what
They
will
edited
happen if
that.
the dark hour disappears.
What?
Do you?
What do you mean?
Oh, they changed that. Okay.
You really want to lose your abilities?
Ah,
This is the
okay.
only thing I can do. And yet, is your mission worth your life?
I just talk a big game.
I love these new outfits. These are
Pretend
so
like I'm some
cool.
kind of hero. That's about all I've got going for me. Without this
Just the
power,
smoothness of
I'd be
combat, man.
nobody.
Yeah, the models look so good too.
Dugaya?
Elizabeth, okay.
Please do not move in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
opposite direction of the escalators.
I'm gonna make pancakes.
Oh, they
Happy
okay.
party
Interesting.
time, as they say.
We don't have much
Oh,
time.
the Jack Frost things.
If
That's
the dark
funny.
hour disappears, we might forget everything that happened.
The SMT staple.
I'd forget you and Chidori, things we did together.
That's the thing we were talking about earlier, where the bad guys they try to humanize them.
Had you
Oh.
not decided to eliminate the
This
dark
is
hour,
the same
you
thing?
had a reason to
Yeah,
attack.
kind of, but
I
Oh,
guess.
kind of, but
I was wrong.
it's not so
First time
bad.
in my life,
not Star Wars
I
bad.
realized what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted.
Let's toast.
Some things you only pick up stepping off the straight and narrow.
Well, new Star
Fate
Wars.
shall decide which of us will remain.
Hey man, Darth Vader's just misunderstood.
Man, the models look so good.
And I mean, day one. Game Pass.
Yeah man, forget about it.
Yeah. Don't buy the Don't buy like the super digital version that they have.
Does it not give you that much business?
It's just I just hate that practice. Game Pass is nuts, and they're pushing the Xbox for the main channel too. This is the catchiest song in all Persona.
Oh my god, man. Look at all this.
Feel like-
Dude. Amazing,
good.
man. Amazing stuff.
Did they? Sorry, can you go back to the one part where the guy comes out of the coffin, real quick?
Yeah.
I don't know if the video skipped.
They called themselves Strega.
Somebody's got a grudge
Hold on a
against you,
second.
and they asked us to get revenge. No, stay away.
It just cuts there. Okay, so the Japanese version
Yeah.
of this trailer, he actually you see him take his gun out and shoot the guy as he runs away.
What do you mean?
No way.
Yeah.
You really want to lose your abilities.
Man, why would you censor that?
I don't know. That's a weird one. If you just type in reload, I think it'll show up. Get rid of Japanese trailer. I think
Yeah.
it should show. It should show up. Maybe. Oh, that's wrong. I thought
It's
it
like
should
a
show-
Asia?
No, this is the one we just watched. Scroll down a little bit more. Oh, geez, they don't even. Or type in Atlas Tube in the search, like all one word.
Atlas 2.
Yeah, tube. There we go, right there. TVO3.
This one?
Not that one. The bottom one. Yeah, right there. Also in Japan, the
この
Xbox.
間の満月も、
うん
連中は例のシャドウを倒
Bill
したいんです。
Spencer hard at work.
私はこの能力を
こんに
なくし
ちは。
て
Xbox.
無意に生き続けるつもりはありません
Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah.
どうでしょう、ジン。彼らは敵
Oh, there's
でしょ
blood on the ground in the beginning too.
Yep. Yeah, why would they censor Asia so
新しい
much?
敵が現れた。
That's weird.
俺たちと同じペルソナ使いだ。
それがと言われていると。
I guess the themes are too.
お前を恨んどる奴がおんねや。でもって復讐を頼まれとる。やだ、来るな、来るな。素晴らしいですよ、その声。
Cool.
She's basically saying, I love that
影時間
voice.
が消えるっちゅう意味よう考えとるんやろな
Cool.
どういう意味ですか？
あなた方は
So a little bit,
力が消えて
a
も
little
い
bit
いので
different.
すか
私にはこの力しかないのに。命より作戦が大事ってこと。
I mean, the particle
正
effects,
義のため
and even if seeing Persona 5 Royal, it doesn't go this smooth, man. It feels like a proper 60 frames per second.
Well, I think that it's on Unreal, right?
Yeah,
Or something.
it is.
some
It's on
engine.
Unreal Engine.
高谷
So I wonder if that's why they kind of don't have to worry about making an engine now, and it's just
大変危険です。
パンケーキを作りたいんだ
ナッツパンケーキパーティーであります。
oh
私た
gosh.
ちには
What is pancake party, arimasu?
感じがなくなってしまったら
I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't say hotcakes. Though. They said pancakes.
Right?
あんたや千鳥
Look, blood on the ground again.
やってきたこと
Yeah.
Blood everywhere, man.
だけは
Yeah. Well, that there's a reason. There's definitely a reason for that.
影時間を消すなどと言わなければ不干渉でいられま
I
した
love those. Oh gosh, that change between the characters is so
初め
cool.
て考えたの。自分が
Animation looks good. It looks very what is it? Consistent.
Yeah.
If you play the original Persona 3,
力
it's
と運命とが
you know.
Rough.
残るべきもの
Some of the shots are really good, but you'll see scenes where like the one of the main girls, her hair goes from like really short to really long to really short to really long. So this is looking good.
ベルベルベルベルベット我が主長い花
The song's cuter in Japanese.
ご一緒に
She's got a. I like her voice better in Japanese.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm used to all of the Japanese voices are the same. That's why. So I'm like, I have more attachment to that, I guess.
Dude.
It's looking very good.
Looking pretty
Jeez, the maximum like digital deluxe one is like 15,000. That's ridiculous.
That's annoying.
What do you like? Does that have like a season pass in it or something, or is it just like a bunch of?
It's just extra stuff.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
So, but that's not the big topic, is it?
The big
is
topic
Xbox.
is Xbox.
Xbox leaks.
This is, and so all I gotta say is, all we all gotta say is, we don't condone leaking
Yeah.
whatsoever.
We don't.
However, the problem is, Xbox.
Everybody and their mother has a video about it.
That's one.
Notice how
Two,
they're all the same thumbnails. Huh? What? Duh? Gah. It's just like, come on, guys. But go on.
and then we got to do one like,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
Xbox.
Let me go a box of soy milk when I do that. But go on.
Microsoft.
Done my face in soy milk.
Uploaded this and made the mistake themselves. Nobody
Yes.
like hacked into their servers, as far as I know.
Yeah.
This was them uploading. I don't know the full story. I don't think it's accurate, but they were uploading something, and basically, it's like something out of a movie, right? You know, when they're like hack into the mainframe, it's like, is that the folder? And it's like top secret folder. That's basically what Microsoft did. They posted it, and it somehow like made it visible, and I think that's how people got access. How they got access, I don't know, but Microsoft basically was like, "Hey guys, oh wait, sorry, we gotta hide it again," and it was too late.
They were supposed to upload documents regarding the trial that recently happened, and they weren't careful enough to upload the carefully redacted items. So these things were kind of, like you said, the folder was top secret and it was open, and accidentally a lot of this stuff got leaked. Two issues or items of notice or interest. One being a sort of like mid-gen, midlife Xbox Series X sort of a newer model coming out that's going to be all digital. And the only reason we bring it up is because the article, the slide is titled "Adorably Digital," because it's supposed to be like this nice little tube. It's adorable, and it's the Series X, 2 terabyte model. New controller on the way, with haptic feedback, gyroscope functionality, sort of what in line with the PlayStation Dual cents.
Hmm.
And yeah, kind of weird. They're pushing this all digital console supposedly
Oh,
coming out.
not weird, but
Very Xbox.
yeah, there's a reason.
In the
There's
future,
definitely a
you will
reason.
own nothing.
Yeah, like you say that like kind of. I don't know if you're joking,
In
but
the
that's
future.
that's really what it is. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
what it is. I mean, I was talking to someone else about this today.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it was me. You're
also
probably
you,
talking
but
to me about it.
someone else, not
Oh,
just
okay.
you. I would have just
You
said it
have
for
other
you.
friends? Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, I know not many, but there's a few.
There's a few.
There's a few solid ones. I know. I was like, we were talking about like companies and repairing things, and it led to this conversation.
Mhm.
If Microsoft makes everything digital, Nintendo makes everything digital,
Yeah.
there's only one storefront to buy the games.
Yeah.
It's the Microsoft store. It's the Nintendo store, and then what? We
Yeah.
can't go out to game stores. If you're in the US, you can't go to GameStop anymore or this or that. A perfect example I always give is when I wanted to buy my friend Pokemon, the Diamond or Pearl remake. The physical version here anyway, that all the stores are selling it for like 1,000 yen.
Yeah.
Totally cheap. It's
Yeah.
much me now got it for, I think. Went to the same store. The digital version's 6,000 yen. So we'll just say for the sake of it, $60. It's less, but usually it's $60.
Yeah.
I asked him, I was like, "Hey guys, come on! I gotta send this code to somebody. I can't send the package. So can I just get this for 10 bucks?" And they were like, "Well, sorry, that's Nintendo's store, and we can't change the price on digital cards." So that's the thing. The stores will sell these gift cards with the codes, but they cannot lower the prices.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not for
And then
nothing.
you
It's
just
not
rely on their sale. Like you keep relying on digital storefront sales where I think physical items depreciate. And next thing you could pick up a copy of relatively not Nintendo first party game for really cheap.
Sure.
This is where I do like Nintendo and its pricing because once you pick up Breath of the Wild, it's gonna be always $60. And this no nonsense thing kind of bothered us earlier on. Like, who does that? And it's just like as time went on and we have these terrible human beings called collectors and resellers kind of come out of the woodworks like roaches. It's starting to make sense. This stuff is starting to make sense. I see both blessing and a curse because having things just digital is way better. But at the same time, it's gonna take physical media. It's gonna make it even more rare. And
Mhm.
it's already pretty, like Thousand Year Door. Like, look at the opposite. Nintendo just decided to re-release Thousand Year Door, a game that probably, if you tried buying it now on GameCube, would be costing you close to that amount of buying a new Switch. $250 for a GameCube game? Are you kidding me? But because these idiots, and they are idiots, and they're parasites, keep talking about game preservation and blah, blah, blah. Well, the only rational answer to game preservation is to create everything and put it on a digital storefront. And then people still get upset. So, I mean, I'm kind of torn, man. I'm torn because at the same time, it's gonna mitigate a huge issue that we have
Mhm.
right now with retro games, with games from the past generation, which physical media is literally impossible to buy.
Mhm.
A lot of these parasites, these roaches are coming to Japan, just buying stuff up to
Oh
sell.
goodness, please don't give him any ideas.
Well, the problem is
Ugh.
when a game has a language barrier, that's the only best solution. Like old NES to N64 games, they can't because again, you got to learn Japanese to enjoy those games.
Yeah.
And but with the new age, especially for Switch, for PlayStation, you just need patches, right?
Mm.
The language patch for almost every game on Switch,
Mhm.
except for a handful.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like
basically.
I picked up a rare game, Dead or Alive, Extreme Beach Volleyball 3, greatest game ever made.
Very
For
rare game.
a very great game for around 8,000 yen. So let's say like 70, $60. And it's impossible to pick that up outside of Japan. It's literally impossible to pick up the physical disc. Picked up Dead or Alive Fighting for like, I don't know, literally $10. And there are people online trying to sell it for like $50, $60. And once the GameCube generation had some fantastic games, the sixth generation of games, they were just amazing. And those prices are crazy. So I do get what Microsoft's trying to do. I get it.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, I love that they do backwards compatibility. I think that's awesome because at least, like, yes, if you have the physical copy of said game, great, it's on there. It could be played, but that gives them another reason to keep the game on the store.
Yeah.
Right. Nintendo, on the other hand, again, they're kind of getting a little bit better with it, but what is it? Their storefront was changing everything, every generation. So I don't know. I think it's tough. I think they just need to keep re-releasing the games.
Right.
Basically.
I'm playing a trailer in the background for Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, the trailer where he shows up on the beach naked. And it's like a rags to riches story.
It feels like kind of Yakuza-esque, but
It is. It is.
It is Yakuza. They changed
But
the
now you're
name.
in Hawaii.
Dean and Delmonte. Oh my god. Oh gosh.
Dude, that looks great. Next gen fighting.
Mhm.
You can move your character during their turn and take full advantage of their
This looks nuts.
Kazuma Kiryu is back and ready to rumble.
Oh, he's in the game?
He's in the game. And the new guy, the guy from this game, I forget his name, but he's in Man with No Name.
Oh.
So they're doing crossovers now.
Oh goodness. Yeah, they got rid of the Yakuza name. They're not doing it anymore. They wanted to bring it closer to the Japanese one.
Right? Like a Dragon.
I mean, it's sort of the name of the studio, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know, let's be honest, that doesn't necessarily fit anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. Jeez.
Housekeeper.
This game's wild, man.
Many more exciting jobs are waiting to be discovered.
These are jobs.
Jeez. Fuji Man's. Oh.
Observe. Just have fun and find your career of choice.
Oh my goodness. As expected.
Houndmates, a summoning service that can turn the
Houndmate.
is back and better than ever.
Oh my gosh.
Choose from a legendary lineup of allies and iconic blasts from the past.
Oh, no way.
Oh, I know. Okay. This game's already out though, isn't it?
No, this is coming out soon. This is the long-awaited. This is like the other story. Whereas the one we're looking that's going to come out very soon is the Man with No Name Gaiden.
Yeah.
That has Kiryu's story back into getting back in, and this is a continuation because he ends up at the end of that game. He ends up in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
Dude, this is what I want, man. This is the fantastic stuff. The Japanese delivery is just to die for.
Raise your Sujimon, hone their skills.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, as we're watching this amazing trailer, you know, looking over again, this is another game that's gonna come out.
Create your profile the way you want it, and put your
Well, if we're
choice
talking about
as
re-releases, these guys never have a problem. They always release. They basically re-release them like all the time.
able to meet the goal of your dreams.
Right.
Every nook and cranny of town has a new surprise.
And that
waiting
kind
in
of paused
store.
when we talked about the girl of your dreams.
Karaoke offers
Is
an
it
incredible
girl?
selection of songs to soothe your
Dreams.
heart's content.
Good. But they have all the originals on Game Pass, right?
Yeah,
Which is cool.
I think so. They just released like last year or something like that.
Oh, really?
I think so. Oh yeah, they got the
Spike out, and many
they got all these freaking Saturn games and stuff on there.
you'll never run out of games to play.
Dude, there's Virtua Fighter in there. With the keen eye.
Featuring extreme battles with a world-class locale.
Oh no way, those are like the two Muppets that came out. They're like on TV. They're from News Station.
Studio brings you the ultimate entertainment. Go take a trip on the wild side.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, that's how you make a game, man. It's a wild, wild experience.
Like a dragon, infinite wealth.
Oh, it comes out in January. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So kind of good announcements, really, really cool stuff. The other Microsoft announcement that we were kind of mulling over is this leak. I don't know if Tony, you want to take the lead on this.
Which one?
Nintendo.
Oh yeah, so the other thing is they well basically, long story short, Phil Spencer wants to buy Nintendo,
Yeah.
according to what he said a few years ago.
Quote
in a
unquote,
leaked
a
email.
career defining move.
Valve too,
Valve too.
which is just great. Great news. No, it's not good. It's not good. One for monopolies and all that stuff like that too, right? But I mean, it's just not gonna. There's just no way it could happen.
This is
I-
thanks to Yang Ye, one of the better news reporting video game accounts on YouTube.
I didn't even
Again.
mention how annoying this price point is too. They're like same great price, $500. I'm like, isn't a mid-season like refresh supposed to be a lower price?
You'd think so.
What are they?
But,
What are they doing?
Yep. And again, all digital, all the glory.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just no, there's no upgrades in there for a physical thing. Again, that's scary. Having digital storefronts is nice. It's good. And again, more choice. But once you take away everything else and only leave that storefront, I don't think it's good. 'Cause I
What
think it's just-
cheeses me off? It's called the Brooklyn.
they'll probably
the
change
code
it,
name-
right?
Yeah, no, the code name's Brooklyn. That's what pisses me off.
Let's go. Let's make the Brooklyn, guys.
Yeah, let's take the Brooklyn. It's what you
Forget
think of
about it.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
But they even want to, and then like the thing you talked about, right? Them wanting to buy Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, Nat, are you worried about this?
I'm not. I don't think it would happen. It's not realistic that it would happen. But like, it's bad if it does, obviously, because like, yeah, the reason you said like the monopoly, like you don't want them becoming like an Amazon, which I love. You know, I love Amazon. Or you don't want them becoming like a Starbucks, and there's Starbucks everywhere.
Yeah.
I love Starbucks. Yeah, you want like that competition so that like competition kind of breeds accountability in a way, like because other companies like Nintendo is doing a different route with preservation of like they'll just remake the game, right? But they'll always have it on a physical usually.
Yeah.
So like if for example Xbox buys Nintendo, then it's just like, oh yeah, no, Nintendo's games are digital now. Don't worry about it. Like, you know, so it's yeah, like you need competition, especially from like healthy competitors per se, like the big three, to like so that they're all kind of like trying to one up each other and like make things better for players rather than if one person owns everything, they can just dictate whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so players don't have choices.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Sony's worst nightmares came true. Elder Scrolls 6 will be Xbox and PC only. Granted, Call of Duty has its own way of dealing with things, and I'm sure PlayStation will get that deal.
Mhm.
But when you start looking at, how crazy hungry these guys are with their IP, Starfield there was rumors Starfield was going to get swept up by PlayStation, and Elder Scrolls is going to be only Xbox. It kind of makes me a little upset that there's so many studios that these massive companies, Sony and Microsoft, are sitting on, and yet the quality of games is, I guess, like, are really okay to horrible. Like, there's no, like, nothing on the level of Sony first party or Xbox first party. But what is Xbox first party these days?
Mhm.
Right. I mean,
Sitting
yeah,
on Perfect Dark, sitting on Banjo, sitting on Conquer, games that defined the
Killer Instinct.
N64, Killer Instinct is just sitting on it.
Mhm.
And Call of Duty now is in their thing. There's a rumor that a new Doom's in development, Year Zero or something like that. I'm not sure if that's reliable or not. All these titles, and they just can't stop fighting about acquisitions. It's like, I absolutely loathe the new media industries, because it's just like there's literally just two studios. They own pretty much all of the movies. And it's just like, oh, we're gonna buy up Marvel, then we're gonna buy up this IP, then that, and Star Wars. It's like, why don't you just first make something quality so it's worth something? And now that you own it, you barely treat it right. Microsoft is terrible at that. I think you and I had this conversation about they should have bought up Sega. But if they bought Sega, we would get nothing. We get no games.
Yeah.
That's instead of buying Nintendo at their height, you could buy out their original competitor. We wouldn't have gotten Sonic Frontiers. We would never get these Like a Dragon games. We would get nothing. They'd be
Mhm.
just sitting there working on ways to get things to work on the Windows storefront. I don't know. They're that backwards when it comes to that. And I was giving Phil Spencer a lot of credit that
Mhm.
he's in it for gaming, but all digital, him saying that's going to be a career defining move if he ends up acquiring Nintendo. It's just a lot of crap.
It's not, it's not like where you want your focal point to be. Like your focal point should be, I want to make a really good game.
Yes.
Like I want to make the next gen Halo or something.
That
Like
should
But the
not
problem
be.
is the
Yeah.
industry is filled with people like that, from Bobby
Yeah.
Kotick to John Riccatello, which is another news thing we could probably touch on. Unity and the massive blow up that happened, probably the worst disaster in gaming so far, where developers are quickly trying to port, because the guy that gave EA its terrible image, John Riccatello, Mr. I'm buying sports cars, and video game developers are idiots if they want to be creative because I want to charge money on reload clips in Battlefield. As an example, that's
Ugh.
what he actually thought. Like, not literally, but that's the word. His wording was, imagine you're in Battlefield for 4 or 5, 6 hours, and then you need to reload. And I want that to be something that they don't have to think. They just charge it immediately.
That's insane. But
So
you know,
this is the
there we
guy that
go.
gave EA the reputation of worst company in America 2 years in a row. Decides to get nominated or put on the board for Unity, and it's just like just nickel and diming everything. Profits,
Mhm.
profits. At the end of the day, you have to accept something. Video games cannot be. It's an entertainment business, and the key aspect of an entertainment business is quality. If you have quality entertainment, people will pay money. The problem is these people want to keep charging, and you cannot charge for something that is abysmal at best. We have a breadth of experience. We understand, we've seen and played a lot of stuff. And especially with video games, it's really hard to sort of do what Todd Phillips did with Joker, which is a terrible movie. And anyone says otherwise can go kiss my. So, like, you look at that stuff.
I love how you centered yourself there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
did.
just
No,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like that's a prime example of a crap movie that the non-comic book public ate up. It's about mental health. Joaquin Phoenix's performance is fantastic, but it's a garbage movie. It's nothing to do with Batman, the Joker. It has such pedantic and pedestrian messages thrown at your face. And you can fake moviegoers by lying to them and creating a world. We were all duped in, the last Star Wars movie that came out.
Oh,
So you can fake it, right? And in the beginning, I was like, yeah, it's not bad. And then the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I'm like, man, this movie really wasn't that great. But with games, you can't because it's an experience.
yep.
And the sooner you realize that, the easier and better it is. So creating these mega blockbusters, movie style games, they're not feasible in the foreseeable future.
Mhm.
You need some return. And in order to do that, you have to kind of limit yourself, limit the scope, limit the entertainment. And I'm okay with indie developers actually gaining more power now because
Yeah.
we're seeing indie developers create some amazing games. Mortal Kombat 1 is being celebrated because there's no sinister microtransactions hiding beneath the surface.
Mhm.
That's a bare minimum. We shouldn't be celebrating that. That should be a
Hey
standard.
man, Baldur's Gate knocked it out of the park, man. Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate is
A-
it's Baldur's Gate 3. It's the
Greatest game ever made, right?
made.
Well,
A game that sold less than Final Fantasy VII remake, and people talking like it's like the king of RPGs. And again,
it
it's a
did do the right. It did do the right things, but you're right. It should be the standard.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, can you believe they're doing this? Like even with Zelda,
yeah.
right? Like people, what? There's no DLC. It's like, yeah, who cares? Like the game's finished. Let
Yeah.
it be. Leave it as
Even
it
like
is.
if we're talking indie, like Sea of Stars, right? Like that's
Fantastic game.
very, very good.
And again, games is weird because it's entertainment, it's artistic ability. There's massive teams. It's not the same as movies. And I think these guys want to run this business with movies, and these guys think that mobile is going to last forever. I foresee a future where there's going to be a crackdown on the addictiveness and freemium quality of mobile games. We've already had one wave of it where
Mhm.
people just denounce it, and I foresee a future where this kind of the loot box court hearings that happen in Europe and across America, I foresee some strictness coming down. The echoes of people that do voice acting and motion capture, if their jobs are threatened with AI manipulation, I see a future where games will have to kind of like wake up if they continue on this path. But if video games stay on this path that most Japanese companies seem to stay on, which is it's a creative endeavor, it's creating a good game, it's giving more value to the customer, then we won't see the same kind of like fighting, the same kind of pushback.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean that's my 2 cents. How about you guys?
Man, no, I think that's a really, really good point, the way you compare movies and games, right? It's an experience, right? It's a very different experience. Yeah, basically everything you said, where it's still a new business, right?
It is very
Movies have everything, not saying that they cost less to make and this and that or whatever, but I mean they can kind of experiment a little bit easier, I think, and get away with things. And you know you can't charge a microtransaction for a movie, right? But you could re-release a movie like 100 times because you know they end up selling on DVD for $10 after a few years. So it's just because of the interactivity of games, we're kind of stuck with these microtransactions in this and that. But you're right, it's all about just really, it should just be about making a good game, and that's it. Like EA, for example, right? You can make, I don't know, call me crazy. Like with
Yeah.
FIFA, you don't need a new FIFA every year.
No.
Every 5 years, release a new FIFA. Work
just-
on, like, really work on a good engine, right? And then
But
put it
people
out.
buy it, right? That's the problem. That's the problem with NBA 2K24, one of the worst reviewed games right now. Tons of problems, assets from previous years.
Yeah, apparently
ported
like one of the NHK or NBA rather, NBA games like was selling for like 100 yen or something, like discounted from like 6,000 or something.
Because
That's
again, it's like
insane.
people, again, the whole game is cornered off. It's loot boxes,
Mhm.
it's pay to win, it's like unlock stuff. And it's just sports games are gone.
Yeah.
You're only gonna find those insular, amazing sports game experiences on Nintendo. And even then, all these quote unquote game journalists, which are probably the bane of this industry, because they keep pushing it towards that movie mentality, they'll hate on it. They'll be like, oh, nobody's playing Strikers online or Mario Golf online. The online system's not robust. Listen, it's sustainability. You cannot have servers for game stay on forever if the amount of people playing it is so little. Nintendo's online plan does not make sense. It's terrible, but it makes sense for the situation we're all in. The world, the way it is, it makes absolute sense. Fighting games have struggled to keep servers open. Street Fighter 6 is great now, but Street Fighter 6 in 5 years, I don't know. Smash Brothers, you still go online, play with people.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the best? Nope, not even close. But it's the world we live in right now. That's the best situation we have where we can still have our game and play it. I can still pull out Battalion Wars on Wii and I can play somebody, P2P direct. I can't do that with Warhawk on PlayStation 3. It's gone. Servers are shut.
Shut them down. Phantasy Star Online 2 on Dreamcast, you can still set up a server. I think you can. You can still set up a server and play with people.
And, look at Phil Spencer. Not only have you bought quite possibly the biggest asset, all of Bethesda, you get Doom with it, Quake with it, all these franchises. And yet the gall on this man to say Nintendo is the prime asset for us in gaming. And same with Apple. Apple's been trying to get into Nintendo, try to buy. It's like, no, you don't understand, man. Nintendo loses tons of money. Nintendo sits on IPs a lot, and we give them crap. If these guys had their way with it, we just get 2D Mario ports every 3 months, and then we get nothing.
Yep.
Why make something? Look, it's very difficult for capitalists and communists around the world to wrap their head around how Japan operates. Because Nintendo has its mobile game plan, but they see an end to things. Mario Kart Tour is ending. There's no point in continuing on and just like milking people for their money.
Yeah,
It's gonna
they're just
end.
pushing it. They're pushing them to the Switch, and that's why it keeps selling like hotcakes. Mario Kart 8 it keeps going, keeps going.
Look at the goodwill, man. The NES, SNES Mini did really good. The Nintendo Online Switch plan, everybody was criticizing it. They have a family plan. You can pay like literally $3 with like 8 other people or some crap and just enjoy like N64 games, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy games. F-Zero 99 came out for free on that. Any of these guys have the gall to do that? Oh, sure, you get free games with Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, but you're spending $90 on each of those. It's ridiculous.
And that's only recently, right? Because I mean, think
Recently.
about the Xbox 360 era, the PS3 era, all these eras where Nintendo was free online up until the Switch 6 years ago. These guys were charging $60+ a year.
And Nintendo Online only started, if I'm not mistaken, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it didn't even launch with the Switch, did it? It came after. It was like free online at first.
Yeah.
And then they were like, hey, we're actually gonna have this thing a year or two later or whatever. Yeah.
And it's a really good system, man. It's honestly, it's great. And again, they will make profit because they're doing quality, but they're not going to make the type of profit that these guys are salivating over. They want billions and billions poured into it. Like Capcom just revealed how much RE games sold, right? And RE4 Remake did fantastic. The original RE did great. And it's like those numbers, they want that on a yearly basis. They want to be the next Call of Duty. They want to be the next Halo killer before that. And it's just like
full profit mentality.
It's like not everything will be. Baldur's Gate is not going to be the most profitable game on the planet. And again, as much as I'm not a fan of Baldur's Gate 3, I will admit that's like telling the industry that's how a Japanese studio operates. That's literally how they operate. Quality content, No crazy, update piecemeals, no weird like charging, just perfect, perfect launch. Give them quality, and they won't stop talking about it. What was the talk of the town before that? Fortnite, PUBG. Again, games that are free. They're absolutely free. But again, it's like, you don't compare the budget of an action movie to a comedy. And I feel like in gaming, all of these mega honcho heads that haven't worked as a programmer, an artist, a designer, they get this idea of like, I'm gonna run this like Pizza Hut. I'm gonna run this like MGM Studios. And no, that's why Nintendo succeeded. Yamauchi used to play each and every one of his games. Iwata was a programmer.
Yep.
These guys are like, they're gamers, and they realize, okay, this is a very different thing. It's sickening because I like Phil Spencer, and talking about buying up Valve and Nintendo, just buy more shares. And it's just like, bro, why don't you, and you said this today, talk to Platonic and say, hey, we got the Banjo IP. You make pretty good games and you're full of X-Rare members. You guys want to make a Banjo game for us? And give them a crap ton of money. You'll get it. You'll get it done.
Because that's the idea, right? That's the whole thing. Like, oh, Microsoft buys these guys. It's infinite money. I keep hearing this infinite money, which is true. That
Yeah.
Microsoft has infinite money. Their profits are going through the roof now, as of late. But I mean, it's not showing in the games. And so the whole point of buying these studios, like a Bethesda or something, is to pump it with tons of money,
Yeah.
but not overload them so they're wasting it. But no, it's to have sufficient resources, right? You can do that with these Platonic guys. I mean, that's just the one example we brought up. But I mean, if they got the skills to make a banjo game and they just need the banjo IP, why are you not like taking advantage of that? Mario Odyssey did very, very, very well.
Yeah.
There's no way banjo wouldn't sell at least 1 million copies.
Microsoft sitting on a Mario killer with Banjo. Microsoft sitting on a Mario alternative. Sort of like, let's say, Donkey Kong Killer with Conquer. They're sitting on the next big thing that could probably dethrone Call of Duty. Imagine if they did a Titanfall 2 style game, but with the perfect Dark IP. They're sitting on Halo. They have Gears of War. Now they have Doom. They have Quake. They could be going crazy and just decimating Fortnite, PUBG, being the #1 console.
Yeah, free to play Halo game. There you go.
Right?
If that's the trend or whatever, go for it. You got Warzone.
Hell,
I mean,
Square
they bought
did it.
now, but
Square had like this massive multiplayer mobile game with the Final Fantasy VII universe. We have Ever Crisis happening right now. Why don't you do that with your IP? Nothing. Instead, we get like these guys talking about, well, Redfall was a failure. Yeah, because nobody cared. Nobody cares. You're making mistakes that you've made the same mistakes during the Xbox 360 era. You've made the same mistakes during the Xbox One era. And now you're making a whole set of exactly the same mistakes in this new gen. And same with Sony. They're not learning. And again, it's like, oh, you got to chase console wars are over. I hear so many half-assed journalists. Spider-Man 2 is going to put the console war to rest. It's just like, no, listen, man. Spider-Man 2 is a great game, but Spider-Man 2, no offense, and I'll be very honest check the numbers on this. The biggest selling Sony first-party game is not Spider-Man 2. It's not God of War. It's literally Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Is it really?
It is honest.
Are you sure?
Look it up. Look up the numbers for Spider-Man. Look up the numbers for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
You mean Spider-Man 1 you're talking about?
One.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm actually curious, like top selling PS5 game?
PS4, PS5. Because again, it's a cross-gen, right? It's the
You're
biggest
right.
IP. It's not God of War Ragnarok. It's not God of War.
Not saying I doubt you, but that's hilarious if that's true.
I know. So right now, Sony's holding on to dear life to that exclusivity for Final Fantasy. 7 Remake decimated Spider-Man. 7 Remake destroyed God of War. 7 Remake made numbers in a week. It sold as much as God of War did in its first year.
Hmm.
What do you see? Perhaps I'm
I'm,
wrong.
I'm trying to look it up
Do I
now.
see Tony?
Live corrections. Like
Well,
if you-
Marvel's Spider-Man sold 20 million.
yeah,
God of War sold 19.5 million. Hold on, give me a second.
yeah.
Final Fantasy Remake sold 20 billion.
It says on PS4 remake sold 5 million, but hold on. Hold on. We're not done yet. I don't know. It's gonna take me a second. I'm trying to find the PS5 sales. It says as of September, it sold over 7 million.
7 million, 5 million. Uncharted. Hold on. Where did I read this? Final Fantasy. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know, man. It's not Spider-Man. I know they're making shit up. Spider-Man's not the best-selling PlayStation game. I refuse to believe facts.
You bet your whole life on it, man. This is
I'm telling you, man. It's just it was like a while ago. We were talking about Baldur's Gate doing well. I was just like, no, it didn't. Final Fantasy killed it.
well that is a picture. Well, in terms of best-selling PS5 games, it's really not. Oh, this is very outdated, I think. This
Surpassed
is
7 million. Yeah.
7 million. I think Spider-Man. Yeah, I think Spider-Man's got to beat.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn
You
it.
must have read the wrong stat somewhere.
Damn it.
Disprove. Yeah.
Disproven. 7 million though. Jeez, man.
Oh, for a non Sony franchise, that's pretty it's pretty
It's
good.
amazing, man. By
So,
September 2023.
and there's no microtransactions, all that stuff in that game, right?
Dude, it's amazing.
Xbox had got that Spider-Man game, by the way. Like I think before it was developed by Insomniac or something like that. I don't remember. Like they went to Microsoft and they're like, "Hey, do you want this?" And they're like, "No."
Yeah, they rejected Insomniac's offer.
Oh,
Oh my god, 33 million of Spider-Man PS4 sales. According to Statista. More than 33 million copies. Jeez, man. Okay, that's your new juggernaut.
But I mean, it goes to show, right? Sony's got this IP.
Yeah,
They're sticking with it. People are excited.
yeah.
Xbox has to do the same. They it's just I don't know, just buying studios and putting things out, or just buying studios and sitting on them. What's the point? Like they just want, Call of Duty every year, whatever. I mean, it's another series. You don't
Yeah,
even need
it's
a
like,
new Call of Duty.
Why?
every
Yeah,
year.
why are we getting a Call of Duty 3? Doesn't
Like
make
a
any
Modern
sense.
Warfare 3 already? Just
Mhm.
don't put a game out and just like I don't know. I think it's insanity.
Because then it's like, is every game gonna become like FIFA? Like every single game's gonna be this
And they,
like
and they
It's
don't have to
yearly,
be. They don't have to be.
like yearly trough feed for everybody. Like, come on, guys,
it's
get your FIFA. It has more bland goo in it.
well, I mean, it's ridiculous that we're at this stage where it's just like more acquisitions. Disney did the same, Time Warner, same crap, and we're not getting anywhere closer to creating something successful. Like,
Yeah.
look at the whole DC franchise and how it fell apart, and it's continuously rotting in front of our faces. Oh, the Flash has all these cameos, all the cool things you want, digital AI recreations. We're gonna use CG to bring back Superman. And when you ask like their actual creators, Tim Burton was just like, I was horrified. He hated it. It's like, what a dystopian, weird future. Like, removed from their context, things that he worked on. Now some other director sits there And that's worrying me because Andy Muschietti is writing the new Batman within the James Gunn's DC universe. And again, it's like fan service.
Is
We're
he?
not dumb. Yeah,
I
he is.
thought it was going to be outside of it.
No, that's the Batman is going to be
That's
Matt Reeves.
Yeah.
Matt
that's
Reeves'
different.
stuff is going to be outside. It's going to be DC Elseworld.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So
okay.
he's safe. He's taking his sweet ass time.
He's been protected. Yeah.
Robert Pattinson and then company is safe, which is great because that is a proper comic book movie that succeeded where the other ones failed. Literally one after the other. They failed. Black Adam failed. All of them are just overbloated pieces of crap, and people can tell quality.
Mhm.
You know, people can tell a quality of a God of War or Spider-Man, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Baldur's Gate, but each of them are very different beasts. For an RPG coming from Japan, I hate the term JRPG too, I know. To sell 7 million units worldwide, success. To be one of Square Enix's best saving graces, success. For a game about Spider-Man, while the MCU is still hot, not doing 19-20 million would be a disaster. It's in the zeitgeist. It's the most popular franchise right now, the most popular character. So, of course, they release a quality game. And why is it a newsworthy item that all the costumes in Spider-Man are unlockable in the game? You don't have to buy them.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, the game studios create this themselves, right? This culture of surprise over costumes, and things like that. It shouldn't be like that.
I think all
really
these
shouldn't.
guys, all these executives, all these board members, they need to sit down and play games to understand this, what they're in. It's not movies. It's not, black market art trading. It's unlike
I
anything.
love black market art trade.
Right?
It's one of my favorite pastimes.
Right?
Yeah.
Just slap a bit of paint on it. We'll call it the Mona Lisa.
I mean, even Capcom, right? With their, I mean, let's be real, their costume thing.
Yeah.
You have to put an ungodly amount of hours into Street Fighter 6 with one character
To unlock.
to get one costume. It's
Yeah.
like something ridiculous. Which is,
And that whole
it's
fiasco
that.
with the DLC, like the game being accessible across accounts, but the DLC not being
Not being
accessible
accessible.
across accounts.
Yeah, that's a
And-
whole nother issue. A
Mhm.
whole other issue we gotta talk about in a future video.
And
Coming soon.
again, time and time again is all these journalists, all these streamers, all these people that were supposed to be the safeguards and whistleblowers for consumers aren't doing their job. They're not doing their job at all. They're just buying in and just like creating hype and fueling the machine. And again, people shouldn't, if you're a huge fan of the NBA, and you are, I am when I was in Toronto, don't buy NBA 2K24. Who gives a crap if the Black Mamba's on the cover? Who cares? Who gives a crap? Just stop indulging in this kind of stuff. Stop doing this because you're perpetually sending the industry down the wrong path.
Mhm.
We talked about freemium games. We talked about mobile games. I was totally against it. I'm not supporting stuff like that. I'll buy a game like I bought Mario on mobile because you can actually buy the game and own it. And then you have this like wicked experience that's only for your phone, but it's Mario. It's great. I'm not buying any other game like that. I had Tiny Wings because it was cheap and it was a full game and it's amazing and it's fun. Crazy Taxi because Sega released it for
Mhm.
cheap and it was the whole Dreamcast experience on your phone.
Yeah.
But I think that may change in mobile too because Apple talked about another big announcement. RE4, Death Stranding are coming to
Yeah, this is huge.
Your
That's another
phone.
one I didn't bring up with you guys with the eye. That is insane.
insane.
On an iPhone 15. You
Yeah.
could play those games.
Is it like
and the Switch
RE
can't.
for remake or
Yeah,
Remake.
the
it's
remake will be on
it's-
iPhone?
yeah, it's not the original. It's
But-
Death Stranding, dude, too.
Mhm.
It's all
Only-
gonna be on there.
Only with
Nice.
iPads and Macs that have the M1 chip and iPhone 15. And that's going to put a huge dent into this crap of freemium gaming. That's really going to shake things up.
For sure. That's huge because up until now, freemium games, took off because what? They're cheap, they're easy to make, not easy to make, depending on the people, but like depending on the game rather. But it's now that you have console experiences, and console experiences are already starting to shift that way, right? When they made Mario Odyssey, they were like, well, people are taking this thing on the go. Let's put like a couple moons in, like this way, this way, this way, so you can pick up a moon or two and then stop playing and come back to it or whatever, right? So I feel
Yeah.
like they're already moving towards that anyway with
Yeah.
with console games. So now that the technology is caught up,
Yeah.
that's gonna the Apple Arcade stuff. Come on, let's be honest. If you look at what's in there compared to RE4 remake, it's not even
It's
close.
garbage. Absolute garbage. It's like comparing YouTube to Netflix. Most of the stuff on Netflix is still watchable. It's still amazing. I didn't say Disney Plus for a reason, but it's sad, man. Just coming back to that story, like Spencer getting like it'll be a career moment. How about your career moment is that the same of Reggie Fils-Aimé when he was at Nintendo? How about that's a better career moment where you walked on stage at the Game Awards with him and just kind of like put an end to this bickering of console wars. You talk about, amazing experiences that could be only brought to you by Game Pass or Xbox. How about that? How about reviving some of those franchises and giving the people that really want it hope? How about not limiting your collector's edition stuff? How about having better security or creating an infrastructure where we're thankful in the future? Better online service. And Microsoft was like that. All of the Game Pass things that you play on cloud gaming, Azure stuff, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It beats the crap out of what Sony and Nintendo could do with streaming. Nintendo could only do like 64 games streaming with its Switch Online. And I believe it's an emulation that runs it. But with Microsoft, you could literally play Gears of War 5 on cloud. As intense as that game is, you could play it. You could play a multiplayer. I played the new Need for Speed on cloud. I didn't want to download it. It's fantastic. And again, that infrastructure was there back when Titanfall 2 was coming out. Titanfall 1, sorry. And they had this back end. That's why Titanfall came out on Xbox only. This is your cloud structure where they decided that they're going to need this running. It has this solid thing. And yet it'll be a career moment to buy Valve, Nintendo, buy ZeniMax and get Mortal Kombat and Batman under the wing. Yeah, but bro, what are you gonna do?
What's gonna be done? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's just you're gonna have Mario, and all it does is it stifles the. It's a tale as old as time, right? But it stifles the industry, and we need more competition, not less. It's why I didn't agree with the way they went about it. But when Epic Games was like, "Hey, you know what? This Apple tax is annoying, and these storefronts are annoying. We got a new storefront on the PC." So Valve's not the only one doing it. That's good. That's good.
And people were pissed. I knew this moron back at work. You know who I'm talking about. His name began with a T. And Epic Games, sure. I'm not gonna be. It's the same stupidity within gamers of like PC Master Race. I'm gonna play it only on Steam. It's just like, no, you moron. Variety is good for competition. Epic Game Store is doing. I don't want it to be the only thing. I don't. But it's good. They gave out better free games. No, but it's Epic. Ew. Right now, what's happening at Unity? What's happening at Unity? And guess which studio isn't stepping up and saying, hey, we're going to charge you too for Unreal. No. They're like, yeah, port it. We want it. We want to be the dominant engine. Unreal 5 is fantastic. Everything doesn't look like it was made in Gears of War. It's a great engine. Unreal 4 had problems, but 5 is fantastic. Yeah. Stop supporting these horrendous monsters like John Riccatello, who honestly is just like, and again, you look at these people and it looks like, the dark side's infested them because they all have fucked, messed up puffy faces. Sorry, they'll have messed up puffy faces and weird beady eyes and extremely pale skin, and they all look like pieces of crap.
God.
No, because they got like weird cracks on their face happening. Bobby Kotick, John Riccatello, and our boy Phil Spencer wasn't. I see why Jim Ryan was freaking out, because all of these heartless executives know each other.
Mhm.
You know what they're like, because they go to that bloodbath meeting they all have once a year, where they kill homeless people and dive into their blood. They're weird people, man. Money changes you.
They got
Money
their own blood
absolutely changes.
boys. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, why was he freaking out? He was freaking out because he knew the ferocious appetite that Phil Spencer and Microsoft has.
Sure.
That's why they were freaking the heck out. And
we were all on board with it too. I mean, at least I was. I was like, hey, they buy Activision, Yeah, of course I knew of the dangers. I was like, wow, they're gonna buy him out. This is great. I was like, okay, good. This whatever. This is fine. I thought it'd be kind of a neutral, maybe slightly positive thing because Activision, we all know their culture is terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well maybe Microsoft will whip them into shape a little bit, and that'll be fine. But instead, it's just acquire this, acquire that. However, not throwing in a defense, but I just thought it's interesting to bring up. Phil Spencer tweeted about this today.
Yeah.
Basically addressing, this is all old stuff. It's not the plan. Can't wait to reveal what's coming for real.
Ever since I've had Cialis, I'm a changed man. Say what you will, Phil Spencer.
Ever since I've acquired Company X, it's changed my life for the better.
Yeah, for the better.
I mean, yeah, I get it. This email was from I think it's from 2 years ago, I believe. I think it's from 2020. But I maybe this is before they had more the deals that they have with Nintendo now. Maybe not, but just going with what this thing says. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. They're trying to butter them up, but I mean, realistically, I just think that people seem to throw us around online a lot that there's Japanese laws that prevent Nintendo from being taken over hostily, blah blah blah, and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft knows that. That said, I still think the Japanese government, because there's a lot of crony capitalism going on here, they will do whatever they can to not lose a big company like that. Nintendo would have to be like $1 gajillion in debt.
Yeah.
It'd have to be Virtual Boy level failures to get bought out.
Yeah.
I think, and they'd have to beg for it.
Yeah.
It's too strong of an IP, even when they're not doing well. Even when it was the Wii U era, Nintendo's still such a household name here. It'd be like if Toyota was going to get bought out by someone. It's not going to happen. It's comparable. So I think we don't have anything to worry about. Nintendo needs to exist. Nintendo gets it. As much as people will hate on them, every YouTuber in the world will talk about how draconian they are. Again, because they have no idea how people in Japan think. I think all Japanese people think this way, but they don't understand the culture here. They don't understand Kyoto culture, and whatever, which is very my way or the highway. But it's like they're the ones who are coming up with new stuff. This Switch hybrid idea is fantastic. The Wii remotes, awesome, very very cool.
Yeah,
Sony and Microsoft aren't doing that. They're just putting out PC boxes.
Yeah,
and pretty fun games. Nintendo pushes the limit in different ways. We need them as a competitor. They have hardware history and they have software history. Them not making hardware would be devastating for the industry.
Yeah,
I guess.
I absolutely agree. It's, I can't find this thing, but back when EA had Maxis, there was a developer that did a forum, basically the developers of SimCity, and he went on, I think on GDC, when the Wii came out, and he was upset. He was extremely angry. Spits
Max's developer
violent.
spits violent away.
Yeah. And I always think of this article because it's a culmination of all the EGMs and GamePro articles of hating Nintendo. Is Nintendo done? Donkey Kong's a failure, blah, blah, blah. And he literally went on Max's developer, Chris Heckler. Interesting last name, Mr. Heckler. Wasn't really drunk, but the story makes sense if he was, in my opinion. What did he say? He said the Wii is a piece of crap. Heckler began his talk, which was called Fear of a Wii Planet. He blasted a few bars of Public Enemies to set the tone. He just hated on it. It wasn't simply referring to the Wii's graphical capabilities. He wants to spend console CPU making games more intelligent, and he has found that the Wii doesn't have the power to process things like complicated AI. And he's from EA. You know,
Nothing more than two
Really let
GameCubes
that
stuck together. What's
yeah,
wrong with
really-
that? It's great.
really let that sink in. We don't talk about SimCity because it's an absolute piece of crap failure, right? City Skylines has taken over. You know why? Because Maxis and all of EA studios were run by obnoxious, arrogant, overeducated a-holes like this guy.
Well, the great irony is in Japan, especially, what
Yeah.
games were on the Super Nintendo and 64? SimCity games.
Yeah.
City, Sim Planet. So it was pretty good then. So
And then he's like, I'm talking from me. I'm not representing EA or Maxis. You know, he was just an absolute idiot. An absolute idiot. It's like I forget his name. Phil Fish, the guy who did Fez, and then got embroiled in nothing but scandal, and people hated the crap out of him. And just because he criticized Japanese games and game makers. And again, it's like this weird arrogance in the industry. You are from a very capitalist society with very capitalistic perspectives and ideals, and you're not really taking into account that some things need adjustment. It's a free market society. We need to consider some things. If everything was about profit, there would be no public transit. If everything was about profit, there would be no healthcare in certain ways. So we need to treat our arts and entertainment with care because they're very valuable. They're the hallmarks of a successful society. So we need to be humble constantly. I was humbled. I thought Final Fantasy VII was the best freaking game on PlayStation.
Spider-Man webbed you up.
Webbed me up.
Yeah.
Still best
Sales
game
don't matter. Sales are just all profit, man. Don't worry.
Sales aren't facts, man. So I mean, again, the gall of this guy to go on and deliver a talk at GDC about how much the Wii is just a piece of crap. And what did the Wii do wrong? Yeah, there's a lot of shovelware games, but it got a lot of people that don't play video games to actually play video games.
100 million units sold. And yeah, I was actually, this is kind of good timing. I was watching old press conferences and announcements and stuff of Iwata before obviously before he passed away. This is like right when the Wii was coming out, after the Wii came out, and just listening to how he talks versus how these people talk, right? These sort of, what is it, these penny pinchers and stuff. He's sitting there, he's addressing people. He's like, we're trying to spread this out, we're trying to make it better, we're trying to do this for the customer, this and that. There's nothing but good stuff there, and it's always about the gamer, basically.
Yeah,
that's just, you know, with these guys, you just don't feel that. You know, it's corporate speak.
Yeah.
On my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind,
This always makes me sad.
Yeah.
But in my heart, I am a gamer.
Do you mean, like, again, it's like the key to Nintendo's success and its arrogance and its pride is simply in how it operates, how it creates its franchises. I'm royally pissed for F-Zero 99 being out and not a GX or new franchise. But I gotta say, it's the Nintendo decision. It's free. It works well. It runs on a wicked net code. It is so smooth. It's enjoyable. The Nintendo. Nintendo didn't disappoint me with Metroid Prime Remaster. They delivered on Zelda. They delivered on Pokemon. For a lot of Pokemon fans that I talk to, they don't care Scarlet and Violet isn't technically advanced. They love the game. They love the story. And Nintendo's like really keen in on that. They're like, okay, this is what this franchise wants. Metroid God Dread was fantastic because they listened to what the franchise should be about. Not action game. Just like, okay, it has simple story. Make Samus badass. 2D. Let's do it. Make Dread happen. Great.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, none of their games have not hit recently.
Right.
Nintendo's Kirby games, those have all been good. I know it's HAL, but still, right? Those have been doing well. Mario games, all the 8 is still going crazy.
Right.
This is none of our stuff is going to come up. I
This is our sister channel,
I tested
GPX
this out.
Motocross. Yeah.
GPX Motocross. Japan.
It's Nintendo's got the right idea. Did they do everything correct all the time? No. Did they make a lot of annoying decisions? Yes. Do we need them as an independent company that is creating new experiences that will help grow gaming? Yes.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
do.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, people want to say what they want about GX and all these other GameCube remasters. The GameCube didn't sell that well when it came out. A lot of those people were like all for like, oh, I'm just gonna get a PS2, man. That's my thing. Or the Dreamcast didn't sell that well. I'm just waiting out for the PS2, and it's just like, all right, well, you can have your PS2, and so stop talking about this. So like a lot of people that say like a lot of people on Game Explain that keep talking about F-Zero. I have a running theory that none of them have played F-Zero, and if they have, it's the memory card's empty. They don't know how to win the simplest of races. I've invested more time in this game than any GameCube game. And I'll tell you, I am 2 races away from perfect completion. 2 very hard races, extremely hard on hard, because it lets you do easy, medium, and hard. And I can't back then. And it unlocks like the last 2 drivers. And this game was brutal. It was so brutal. Then Gran Turismo 3 or 4 came out. And people were like, this cakewalk compared to F-Zero. This game is brutal. And a lot of these people haven't played it, but yet everybody and their mother has an opinion about F-Zero and how he should get it and blah, blah, blah. We're missing Captain Falcon. It's like, listen, man, when this game was out, I was singing its praises. I was making my friends play it, but nobody really cared. Oh, is that a GameCube? And same thing with Wind Waker. The amount of hate Wind Waker got. Friggin' Onuma apologized. How stupid is that? And now everybody's like, when will they remaster that for this? It's just like, dude, shut up. You want it?
And then they actually listened. They were just like, you want dark? And they just went full Twilight Princess.
Right?
Like, this is dark. Like,
well,
take it, you fool.
I will defend the they, right? Because it's very different now. Because in that time, the people who want Wind Waker were probably much younger.
Yeah.
I will say that. I mean, I can't fault a lot of these people for not having a GameCube just because the PS2 had that freaking DVD player. It was a terrible one that I'm pretty sure scratched DVDs, although I could be wrong about that. But when you got that in there, it's hard to compete.
Well, but it says something like, have you ever thought, okay, if an abysmal game from now with its graphics and technology was ever released back in the day, would it do amazing? Because I think about that stuff all the time. I think about a game like, right? Like something that's what's kind of abysmal. Let's go Starfield, right? If Starfield was released, not a horrible, it's a decent game. But if it was released 10 years ago, with amazing graphics, would people really notice, or would people say, it's okay? And truth be told, I think we see that pattern in the industry. We see amazingly graphics intensive focused games that have no story do terrible. There's a game called Hydrophobia, which does this amazing water effect, unlike any game that's ever come before or after, and it didn't do that well. Spec Ops: The Line touted itself as a shooter and downplayed its crazy story. So many years later, we appreciate the game for what it is, but a lot of people didn't get it and it didn't do well. There's a reason why this original Zelda is that great and it didn't have that amazing graphics, the gameplay. And that's that secret sauce you can't fake. The gameplay will always be key. If you release a game with obtuse, weird controls, things that don't make sense, if you released Perfect Dark now, despite it's amazing, like it does things that other first-person shooters still don't do on a regular basis. Every light is shootable. There's a fully voiced dynamic AI, counter op, and co-op.
Mm-hmm.
If you release it right now, people are going to criticize its controls.
Yeah,
its gameplay loop is kind of limited.
GoldenEye 2, right? It came out. People are like, oh yeah, the controls on this game suck. I forgot. It's like
for its time, right? So look at a game like Callisto Protocol, which is phenomenal looking, like amazing graphics, amazing tech running that game. But what was it criticized for? Its gameplay loop, because you have to melee people, bad guys, zombies, and the melee work is simple. You could spam it. So I think if you release a new game, send it to the past and release it, it won't fool people. It's not gonna stick. The original Deus Ex, people were like, "Oh, it's great, it's great," but even they have to admit it, it's slow as hell. System Shock, people were like, "Oh, it's the best game ever," but even they have to admit it. It's like, yeah, System Shock, put it next to Half-Life. It's like, yeah, I'd rather take Half-Life.
Mm-hmm. It's all about the gameplay. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And I know companies operate on very different not wavelengths, but they all have their own strategies, right? Like Capcom discounting Resident Evil so heavily, just a few years after release. I think a lot of these companies should, treat their games with more respect. Like I like a sale as much as the next person, but in a weird way, I appreciate Nintendo holding the value onto these games, or kind of setting that value. Where you don't see it dip as much, like Mario 3D World. Fantastic game, by the way. It's still like 50 something bucks on Switch, even though it's a port, because it's a very, very, very solid game. Paper Mario is going for $60, and I've been complaining to you guys about this recently. We talked about the one guy who was saying it's price gouging. It's like, well, no, it's not. If Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is not a $60 experience, I don't know what is. In this day and age, this inflation, whatever. Come on, give me a break. It's I think more companies should do that. They should respect their IPs, put the money into their games. Don't have to rush out sequels. We can argue about Resident Evil 3 till the cows come home. Realistically, they reused a ton of assets from 2 and cut out large portions of the original game. Why? To get the game out quick, not spend any money. And what happened? People don't like it as much, even though the gameplay is freaking perfect. Absolutely amazing. When we all played together, I was like, guys, this game so solid, so smooth, and it's just like they're chasing the money. At the end of the day, you don't need to do that. I think you can, now that games are so easy to, you can re-release them so easily now, right? Just have them there. Just treat them with respect. They're not. It's like you said. It's not Domino's. It's not Pizza Hut.
It's not Domino's.
Those are
I'm
both
gonna
garbage.
get this game out next night. Yeah.
Damn it, right now.
30 minutes to your money back guarantee.
That's how they treat their games, right? They put it out and they're like, okay, it's out. That's it. In a weird way, I respect Bethesda
Yeah.
for re-releasing Skyrim a million times because people like Skyrim. People keep buying it. Maybe it's their first time playing it.
That's a great mod community.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
it's a very good
literally what they
game.
did with the last version, is to like, hey, this is all the greatest like hits of the mods. We've put them all in the game. Like
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
last edition of the game. It's just like, hey, this is all your favorite mod content. Here, it's in the game officially now. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was awesome. I think that was really, really, really cool. I think that's great. And you know, I think it's something more companies should be doing. Of course, you can't like this old game, right? I kind of understand where Nintendo's going with this NES, SNES, N64 thing. It's hard to charge, you know, $5 every couple of years for the same games. Put it
Yeah.
on the service, that's fine. But from GameCube up, you know, they release them full price. I think a lot of games are still worth it. Just because it's older doesn't mean it's not worth the value. It doesn't. I watched a video about this. It doesn't mean just because something's made in the past and it's re-released, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean the value goes down over time. We got used to that for a while because I think game companies were still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like that with movies. You know, if the Godfather came out 50 years ago, and you buy the Blu-ray, is the Blu-ray going to be $2 because it's made in 1970 or something?
Yeah.
Come on, it's
Everything needs a bit of class, and that's where your quality pays off in the longevity,
Mhm.
right? RE4, the original, sold a lot and continues to keep selling because there's a million ports of that game, and it'll keep selling. It's the best thing ever. The remake, same thing. I hope in the future we keep seeing more and more of that.
Hey man, the
Eh,
remake has no soul, right? Yeah, it's
Right,
just
I'm sorry.
soulless.
It has no soul, so
It
it's not
just
gonna sell as
flies. It
much.
just flies against everything that we've said. Yeah, yeah. If
But
you want to talk
that's
about a soulless cash grab, that's the RE4 remake.
but
Yeah.
if we're talking about soul, like really, that is the component. As much as we joke about that,
Yeah.
you know, if we're gonna talk about anything about soul games, like Mario Party, come
Yeah.
on, this is just soul incarnate,
Yeah.
and 10 million units on this thing, and there's still no DLC. It drives me nuts. But a game like this, it's fun, gets to the point, and it's very well made, beautiful animations, not enough boards, not happy about, but just it's so good.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do is just make a good game. And who would have thought?
Yeah. And again, a lot of studios would kill for this kind of sale, this kind of
Mhm.
publicity, this kind of numbers.
Mhm.
And I mean, Mario Kart, people were upset. "Oh, we should have a new Mario Kart." I feel like consumers are sometimes, and journalists are their worst own enemy. It's just like, no, I own Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. All of a sudden, I'm getting 48 more tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you have a new Mario Kart. It's called the booster pack. It costs $30. Like, enjoy.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I want
yeah.
something new now. Yeah. And it's just like,
Because why get a new one unless it fundament? I'm not saying it has to change it, right? Because that's the other thing, right? Change for change's sake. We
yeah.
don't need that. But no, I agree with you now. Like we got this booster pass. We should have a board pass or something for Mario Kart. Just drop a thing, 10 boards, maybe throw some GameCube ones in there. I think we're in the era of evergreen titles, which is what Nintendo's going with
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey in particular, and Tears
All
of the
the-
Kingdom now,
Yeah.
right? I think Pokemon should go that way, but I'm pretty sure it's the Pokemon company that wants to keep pushing the games out.
Yeah.
But the Pokemon should do the same thing. Make a very solid game every like 3 years. And then that's it. Maybe make a DLC island or whatever. You don't have to do it necessarily if you want to keep, but it prints money anyway. But again, that's what happens when you're too greedy, I guess. You just want more and more and more. But no, you don't need it.
You don't.
You don't need it.
And just to echo the same sentiment you said, it's very interesting that instead of trying to acquire Nintendo, maybe they should look at what Nintendo is doing. Business
Yeah, it's
practices.
like you could quite have easily said, like, I want to create the next Mario. Like, not
Yeah.
literally a Mario game, but like a game as good as Mario, right? Like,
Yeah.
Look, that's
Yeah.
what Sega did, right? Think about this. Sega's Master System came out. It was basically a failure outside of Europe. It was the only place it did well. And Alex Kidd was their mascot.
Yeah.
And when they were doing bad,
Yeah.
you think at that time they're like, man, we need to like buy whatever and get Bonk or something. Like, no, we need a new mascot. Make a new mascot. Here's Sonic. Okay, boom, there we go. Microsoft needs to do. They have these IPs. Not saying Banjo needs to be their mascot, but I mean that is such a big IP or such a big potential. It's so popular in Japan, or at least it was on
Yeah.
N64. Everybody knows Banjo who grew up in that era.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Conquer, maybe not as much, but it's still funny. You got
If you,
Halo
if you
for
make something
FPS
of
stuff.
quality, people will come.
Mm.
You know, say what you will about Fortnite or Genshin Impact. When you play those games, they're quality.
Mm.
They have pay to unlock skins and microtransaction up the wazoo, but you don't need it. You really don't need it. And it's just like that balance of giving the audience what they want versus charging them for the most smallest of things.
Mm.
Need for Speed was in such a bad situation that, I mean, it's just literally it was a pay to win thing.
Mhm.
And finally we get like a decent Need for Speed. It's not amazing, but it's a start. But if you boot up Hot Pursuit Remaster, you're like, whoa, why can't we get this game? Completely. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Everything's in there. Unlocked, done, finished.
Yeah.
And it got DLC too. It had Porsche DLC and Special Cars DLC. And that was it. That's all you needed. I think of the GameCube era, and I'm always reminded by the producer or director of F-Zero GX, where he said, I am very satisfied that we've made a game that made the fans happy, and they can't think of any other way to go beyond that. That's why there's no sequel to GX. I'm sorry to burst a lot of people's bubbles, but there's a reason why, is because they made a game that addressed every single issue they had with F-Zero X. And they just knocked it out of the park in such a high velocity that they can't foresee, how do we top this? How do you top it? And same thing was said for Mario Kart. That's why they
And even
went,
like this game they're watching now, like Smash Bros. Ultimate.
how do you
right?
top it?
Yeah.
And again, it's a daunting thing. Breath of the Wild, they had to think and retool and break it down in order to get that game, because they were so content. Twilight Princess formula perfected. Skyward Sword was an experiment, but not that great. I loved it a lot, but it's just like, we can't beat Ocarina of Time. We can't. We've been chasing this white rabbit, and we'll never catch up to it. They can't make another Smash Brothers like this. They can't. So it's like, okay, really release it, or let's just enjoy until that idea comes in. It was like, oh, we haven't done this with this game. Metroid Dread, the single reason why it never got made is because all the ideas sucked. They were terrible. They didn't know how to conclude Samus's storyline. When they experimented and tried making the game action-packed and dialogue-heavy, it turned out to be absolute trash. And that's why we got Other M, Team Ninja, right? And then the producer took the fall because he wrote all of that stuff. And he's like, yeah. So when it came to Dread, they were like, let's just keep Samus like a badass hero, only says like a couple of lines here and there.
Yeah.
And it succeeded, probably succeeded more than Prime Remaster.
You know,
And
you gotta stick to it sometimes, right? You
Did
gotta
she even
stick
say
to what
anything
you
in
know.
Primary Star? Primary Star? Prime Remaster? Did she
Nothing.
say it? She doesn't say anything, does she?
No. There's an alternate European edition where she narrates the opening.
Oh.
Or the ending. But there's no dialogue at all. But again, it's like, how do you top Prime as a first-person adventure game? You can't. So they did a remaster. Now they're struggling to make 4. How do you top Smash Ultimate? You can't right now. Sakurai is even worried. And the director of F-Zero just said it bluntly. It's like, we've achieved those goals. To imagine what we could do next is really hard.
Mhm.
And that's great. That's how you should think in a creative field. That's what we should be allowing, you know. Somebody comes up with an idea. I was like, hey, let's just make F-Zero like Need for Speed. No, Need for Speed crashed and burned because of its own, you know, deciding to chase the Fast and Furious
They
line.
put too many cars in the. They put too much NOS in the cars, man. Yeah.
Right? You mean like it
Too
blew
much
up.
NOS in the cars.
Yeah,
And
basically.
RE4, imagine how easy it would have been to be like, let's just make the same game again and again. Okay, now you're in another mansion with traps. And it's just like, no, 4 came out and they're like, we need to change the system. And I feel that is a very Japanese studio thing, where they think really long, really hard on evergreen titles and how to do something that nobody thought before.
Mhm.
Baldur's Gate 3. They literally looked at 1 and 2 and said, what do people not like about 1 and 2? The zoomed out camera, isometric look, the characters are tiny. All right, let's fix it. Let's voice over motion capture even the most insignificant small NPC.
Mhm.
Let's make you do every character you could ever imagine. Because a lot of people that play our games are horny constantly. Let's pull the camera in.
I would sigh at that, but reading the reviews, you're
It's
correct.
true. It's true. Right?
It's very sad.
Even
And-
like old Bethesda, right? Like Oblivion, they tested that game for like hours. Like not hours, but like they tested that game for like months.
Yeah.
Like they're just playing it over and over and over and over and over again. Just like, does this work? Like, oh, this doesn't work. Okay,
And
we're gonna fix
Oblivion was a
this.
huge gamble.
Yeah.
Huge.
And it went like way further than Morrowind. Like Morrowind was like the, not to get like too far into it, but like Morrowind, the gameplay mechanic was based on a dice roll.
Yeah.
Right. So like depending on how much skill you have in something, the game rolls a dice and determines if you hit something or not.
Yeah.
Where Oblivion is just like, let's just make them hit it. And like their skill depends on how much damage they do and what skills they can unlock and stuff. And it just made the gameplay loop or the core mechanic just so much more accessible and so much more easier. And then on top of that, they added like, you know, really good like guilds, really good story, like
amazing
really good
music.
customization. Yeah, good music, right? So
Jeremy Shore, like that orchestral theme of more of Oblivion. Patrick Stewart was brought in for
and then
measures.
they got the Sean Bean and the Patrick Stewart, right? Like you can't go wrong. It's just
And make sure we kill Sean Bean.
Make sure he dies. Yeah.
It's a requirement.
Right? And then from there on, they're like, okay, how do we top Oblivion with Skyrim? Or the coolest parts of Oblivion were some of the dragons. I was like, all right, let's just do all dragons.
Let's just overlay the dragons.
That's why Elder Scrolls 6 is taking a while, because it's just like, you have to create these experiences, these works of arts, these games. Doom, why did Wolfenstein 3D fail versus like Wolfenstein New Colossus? That's a very different take. It's like, we're going to reboot it, but we're going to tell a different story. New Order and New Colossus are amazing games. Whereas Wolfenstein, Return to Castle Wolfenstein was just the same game, but in 3D. Right? Why did Castlevania's 3D remake fail? Where, what was it? Lords of Shadow? I forget what it's called. The Mercury Steam Castlevania reboot. That was amazingly successful because they're like, all right, what Castlevania is missing is cinematics. Crazy over the top music, story. Boom. Why do I like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes? Unlike you a-holes out there that hate that game, and you all are a-holes if you hate that game, I just wanted the original. Just watch the cutscenes for the original. Watch. Snake goes into the...
It's too much like Metal Gear Solid 2.
You wanted an updated version of Metal Gear Solid, and they did it, and then they realized that the cinematics, the storytelling was so not fun. It was deadpan. It was stupid. Go watch when Metal Gear sort of like breaks down, and you see this explosion after explosion happen, and like 5 minutes of it happens, and then you see Snake go back and hit the wall. Whereas in Twin Snakes, it's like they framed it. You see Metal Gear explode, Snake goes and hits the wall right away.
Mhm.
It's cool, man. It's like you have to change something for a game to be re-released. And sometimes some games are perfect. They just need a remaster, a fresh coat of paint, because you can't mess with that experience. Even Mario
Advance
RPG,
Wars.
Advance Wars, even Mario RPG, they're not changing much. But you know what? They figured out something. Now when you do time it right, you damage everybody. Because yeah, the original game can be a little slow. Mario 3D Land. Oh, the original game speed was a little slow. We'll just make it a little faster.
That's a good point. Yeah. Because when I played it, I was like, oh, it's a little bit slow. And I looked it up and it's like, yeah, they increased the speed. Is it by 25% or 15% or something like that? Which that does change it because it's already a very good game. A few tweaks and it's even better. It's one of the best Mario games, honestly.
Right. Prime Remaster, tons of control options. Dual stick aiming. You can go into the gyro stuff. It's not just a one-for-one, just beautified remake port. There's small changes. There's changes even to the cinematics. They redid them. There's a big, like, second to the last boss that you face, and the tone it was setting for how you get the last suit, they changed that cinematic up. Ridley's whole boss pattern fights are changed from the first version of the game. I mean, they got updated in the European GameCube version, but he didn't do the air stomp. It was just an easy, boring fight. There's always going to be small changes. Things are going to, you need that.
Mhm.
And again, this in-depth retrospective of why games cannot just come out as is an answer to Phil Spencer and this Disney mentality, Bob Iger BS mentality of buy them out, boys. And I mean, it's a joke in The Simpsons, but that literally is what Microsoft is, where Homer creates a fake internet company that doesn't even operate online, and Bill Gates can't figure it out. Like, rather than compete with you, we thought we are gonna buy you out.
And he just comes with like two burly dudes. It's like, buy him out, boys. And
They
he just trashes all of them.
Which is funny, but The Simpsons predicts the future yet again, where it's like that's literally what Microsoft did to Rare. You know, you're the biggest competition. We bought you up, and now we're gonna just destroy and divide you.
And nothing good came of it. Really, a few good games after, I guess, but never the highs that they hit before, right? And that was supposed to, again, it was a different Microsoft, but really it doesn't seem like things have changed, right? Because Rare was like, okay, well, we want to get bought out. Development was getting expensive, blah blah blah. That should have been like a perfect time to really just go crazy. I'm not saying you release a million banjos at that time because apparently platformers were on the way out back then. But now the gaming, what is it? The player base is just so wide. There's demand for all types of games at all moments. So just for them to not, they just want to keep buying everything just to have what Call of Duty, a stable franchise, and Bethesda stuff. It's just like, come on, you got so many things you could be making. How about you hire people who make games?
I'm gonna say I absolutely agree. I'm gonna say for consumers, for gamers, for people consuming entertainment medium, look for good moments of ethical and moral conscious. There's small moments, you'll see it. And when you see it, acknowledge it and understand that for now, that company is still rational. I'll give you Netflix's example and how they removed the Chappelle show because Dave Chappelle was not getting paid royalties for that. The company could have just said, no, who cares?
We own it, or we have the
own it.
deal. So,
but that's a small little indication of a moral perspective, a compass. And when things went too woke, they said, hey, if you don't want to work at Netflix, understand we're going to be dealing with different topics. Don't work here. We're not discriminating anybody. To me, that was like a moment of like, that's why I will still keep paying for Netflix. But when you have, on the other hand, Disney Plus, and they're like, Star Wars, we need more stuff like this. It's not about it's a misogynistic series. Blah blah blah. Okay, what are you gonna produce? And they produce absolute hogwash garbage. I'm just out. I'm only in for the Simpsons reruns and Arrested Development, and Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Why is
Okay.
Always Sunny in Arrested Development on Disney?
That's nuts,
that
right?
doesn't
Some of the
really
most
That's
amazing.
insane. That's insane. But
Even Simpsons being on Disney, like,
well,
yeah.
that is nuts that
Mhm.
that it's all on there, and it's like cool when you see it at first, but then when you realize what Disney owns, it's like, phew,
Yeah.
my God, and they still can't get it right with all that money. I want to just say one thing before I forget it. Disney, we should have known that they were evil. I think like as soon as they bought Star Wars, I remember
Yeah.
hearing something about
The
what?
Simpsons have been doing jokes and they're evil for like the last like 20 years.
They probably banned all those episodes, but there was something like a YouTube video or whatever that was like a Star Wars fan film. I think it was crowdfunded. This was like years ago. I could be getting the story wrong. And Disney like shut them down, or they like allowed them to stay up or something. Like there's like a big thing, and they're like, yeah, don't worry though. Any monetization you make from the Star Wars fan film, you have to give to us.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come
Signs
on.
of evil, showing up. And Microsoft, we were giving them credit, but we should have given Nintendo credit when Banjo appeared in Smash. That was Sakurai's efforts. It wasn't Microsoft. Microsoft just wanted a sign so they could come in and look at the books very close. That was Sakurai.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna. I think there was some effort on their part because I think Phil Spencer was the one who initiated that. But again, now we have to think of all those things as what's the word I'm thinking of? Not backhanded, but like
In
there's a
context of his
shady.
email, right?
yeah. Well, there's in the context of the
Ulterior-
email, right? And
Ulterior
yeah,
motives.
exactly. Right. So it's like, oh yeah, we got this really cool idea. Sakurai, do you want to do it? And then what they really think is, oh yes, that's one step closer.
Yeah.
Sort of. That's what it
No,
feels
still
like.
the
now.
arse. Yeah.
Well, Minecraft is available on Switch,
Mhm.
and it's a poor business decision not to.
Right.
It's available on almost everything, and crossplay is enabled, and that's a great thing. That's an absolutely amazing thing. But at the same time, I'm starting to question like all these experiences, because it feels very. I look at Nintendo as like they didn't need Banjo, they didn't need Snake, they didn't need Sonic, they didn't. And if it was really hard to get Sora to come to Smash, they probably would have not done so. But they try, they don't give up, and they try their absolute best to get the best game created. And looking at this game, this is the golden game. That's it. This is the swan song, the best Smash game you'll play until they change the formula. And what we play next is different and cool. But this is it.
This is
the
Melee? What?
melee level, baby. And I mean, again, they got Kazuya in there. They got like all these fighting game characters in there. But it's still not perfect for people. People wanted Goku and Doomslayer, but it's something.
Doomslayer would have been sick.
That would have been sick, right?
I mean, granted, he was in the game per se.
He is
Yeah,
kind of.
That's fair.
Mm.
That's fair.
Right?
Doomslayer. The reason I think Doomslayer could be cool
Yeah.
as a full character is because Doom is just too iconic in terms of gaming history.
Oh, of
It
course.
redefined first person shooters.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's not to go off on another tangent, maybe we will for another podcast, but there's a bunch of guys, it's like 4 or 5 of them in a room or in a small office. They make it run on everything. It's not the most super prettiest looking game in the universe, but it's very, very, very well optimized, so everyone can enjoy it. He did it with Quake, did it with Wolfenstein 3D, and that's just they didn't care about
And-
profits or whatever. That's real passion
had-
there.
They had the balls to stop Doom 4 from coming out because it became too much of a Call of Duty clone. They had the balls to stop it. Do you mean like games are experiments? You're gonna not always have success stories. you're gonna find moments where you're like, the whole game was scrapped. RE4 has the very interesting story in how it was developed.
Even
And that
RE2 and
RE2
RE1 remake, all of them. There's like 4 or 5 occasions. RE5 even.
versions of the game that are just complete,
Mhm.
just missing, some essential tools here and there, and then they just scrap it because they're like, yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't feel right. And you have to allow that. You need that. That's how you create a great work of art. You sometimes you're not feeling it. Sometimes some of those mistakes lead to some cool things. And a game company should have the budget to do so. If you have a budget to pay your execs bonuses, how about don't pay them bonuses and have that budget for this kind of experimental stuff?
Yeah, because
Because
then
you can
if you sorry to cut you off, but
no,
like
no, no,
if you
no.
go for like full that whole like this game has to be out at this deadline, like it allows for no like no like correction of mistakes and stuff. Like if RE4 was on like this massive like corporate deadline, then it'd be totally crap.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that happened with Final Fantasy 15. That's why it's
Sonic
not
06.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the shining
Uh,
example of a trailer that
Yeah.
looked absolutely wicked. And then,
Yeah.
okay, but I have this out like 4 months later. What? And
What?
it turned into absolute crap. Like it's again, that's we joke about the other GPX member, Mr. Waterwash, Christian, who's not here. He's in a way, I'm not just saying this because he's not here. He's very, what is it? Pure when it comes to games. He touches it and he's like, this is fun or not fun. That was like the first time I've ever seen him just be like, dude, this game sucks.
Yeah.
Like, because he was recording footage for me for my videos. I was like, I can't get a 360 out here. Could you play Sonic 06 for me? He's texted me like, this game is terrible. Why would you make me do this? And he never said, even if something is not good, he'll be like, oh, but at least this was fun or this is good. I see where this is going. 06, he's like, man, this is terrible. Oh my god. And Forces too. He was just like, oh my gosh, this
And then you
classic
stop me
Sonic
from
is
buying
terrible.
Forces. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's terrible.
it's again, it's just like they wanted to keep making something so they could turn a profit, get paid. But reality is, man, sometimes the studio can't sustain it. Sometimes the scope has to come back, make things a little more simpler, and sort of figure out what you can do with the best with what you have.
Mhm.
And we won't get that perfect situation. Smash Brothers probably Ultimate had a huge budget, but it probably was less than a Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
It probably was less than a Tekken. And it outsold all of those games. Again, they could have made this game even crazier. Well, what's the point? This is the best they could do with the resources they had. And that's what we want. It's that balance. Phil Spencer's like, oh, we're going to surprise you. We got some stuff happening. It's like, okay, Phil, do stuff. Release a new game. Bring back some of that love that we had for Microsoft. Stop talking about like acquisitions. Stop goading like studios. You're sitting on, I dare to say this, they're sitting on more franchises than are available on Nintendo's first party line. They are literally sitting on more original IP characters than all of Nintendo and its collection of characters.
Well, yeah, what do we got? I mean, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, we won't count that because it's technically, I mean, yeah, I guess we will. But they don't technically own it. But I mean, we'll say that Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, F-Zero, Metroid, Animal Crossing,
Star Fox,
Star Fox,
Yoshi.
Kirby,
Yoshi. Yoshi, I kind of, yeah, Mario, yeah, that's fair.
right?
It's like 9, basically. 10 if you
Let's
count
give
DK.
let's say even 20. Let's go double 20. Okay, Nintendo has 20 unique IP characters they could like flesh out and use and create stuff, and we'll just call Mario Paint its own IP, even though it's just Mario in there. Right? And now you got what? You got Banjo, Conquer, Perfect Dark. You got Grabbed
All
by
of-
the Ghoulies.
All of
Ca-
Bethesda stuff.
Grabbed by the
Cameo.
Ghoulie, Cameo.
That's already 5 from one small company.
Glass Corp, Killer
Glass Corps,
Instincts,
Killer Instinct.
Battletoads.
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 Yes,
Right.
yes, Battletoads. Yeah, yeah.
And then what? You got like Blinks the Time Cat.
Mhm.
Now you have Doom. Now we're getting to Bethesda starter. So already 10, almost close to 10 with just Rare. And then Bethesda, you have multiple studios. You have the Dishonored studio, which also did Prey, which now did Redfall. Then you have Doom, Quake. Well, you have Wolfenstein,
Wait, right. Yep. Please, yeah, Wolfenstein. There we go.
Elder Scrolls, and within Elder Scrolls, we like to just say just Elder Scrolls is one thing. Within that, there are multiple different franchises at play. Within that, like Oblivion is way different from Elder Scrolls 3, which is way different from Skyrim.
Oh, sure.
Way different. Like Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls had these weird like ways to travel. It was very different. It again, they have all these franchises just sitting there. Gears of War, then you have all these epic franchises part of their pantheon. Then you have what was the one with Terry Crews was a huge part of?
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
The surprise burger joint journey.
No, where he's
Yeah,
like
no,
smashing cities.
that one. Yeah,
That one.
There's a spin-off.
You know, there's Crimson Skies. We haven't seen that since the original on Xbox. There were studios
No.
like EA. Most of its stuff is on Xbox. There's so much in terms of gaming.
Yeah, it seems like they're just going like the route of like, oh yeah, we have Game Pass, which is really good. So we don't necessarily have to put our games because we can just put everyone else's game on Game Pass, and then
yeah,
you're
right.
We'll just make updated hardware periodically,
And they got a new franchise.
and just try and acquisition things so we can just put it on Game Pass.
They got a new franchise at the last minute. Shinji Mikami's Hi-Fi Rush.
There we go. That's another one. Yeah.
Name a game that came out like that. Just new characters, new thing, new tone, completely wipes the floor. They have their literal own Devil May Cry killer sitting within Microsoft. That's a Devil May Cry killer.
Oh, Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah. It literally, the combat is Devil May Cry. You have Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a game. I can't. Fallout. All of it is theirs.
Dude,
Within Fallout,
please.
there's different aspects that you can explore. What are they doing, man?
I don't know. A Pitfall. Come on, you're buying Activision. Pitfall. Let's go. It's like the first action video game.
Pitfall, Call of Duty,
You don't need
Activision.
You don't need Indiana Jones. Make Pitfall your
Yeah.
new Uncharted. Hire me
Yeah.
now, Phil Spencer. Come on.
Do it. You
That'd
know,
be sick.
you have literally the owners at Activision. Tomorrow they wake up and they're like, hey, let's renew our deal with Hasbro and let's re-release with a new coat of paint and a little bit of improvement to the old Monopoly. Friggin' throw out games like Transformers, the two amazing games, Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron, the two High Moon Studio games. They could really just re-release them and people will eat it up. They had the Transformers franchise and Activision's part of them now. What are they worried about?
And they have it's Activision Blizzard, right? So they've got all the Blizzard IP as well.
Diablo.
Which I don't know. It's Diablo 4 good?
Warcraft.
I forget. We should have
There's
played
a
that.
lot of problems right now.
But I thought it was good though. No?
It was
I thought-
great, but a lot of people are getting pissed.
Because of the new updates?
New updates and something happened. I didn't investigate. I just saw like a couple of my favorite YouTubers who are just like, I am done with Diablo 4.
Jeez.
Again, it's just like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
What are you guys doing? You know, there's a whole Tom Clancy stuff. Why not buy up Ubisoft? You know,
Well, they probably need it.
You know, Sam Fisher was synonymous with Xbox. Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell. You just pay him money, take it. Crystal Dynamics got slipped off, got sold for pennies. The Tomb Raider franchise.
Yeah, Square Enix botched that. I don't know how they did,
Deus
but
Ex,
they did.
Tomb Raider, gone. Hitman. Now they're finally making a Bond game. IO Interactive. I want them to be knocking it out the park with that Bond game that they're developing. And again, it's just like, what is Microsoft doing? We need to buy more. Yeah. That's gonna solve all our problems.
What are they gonna do? They're gonna buy Ubisoft. The only thing they're gonna release is Ass Creed and oh no, they'll cancel Prince of Persia probably.
It's gone.
That'll Assassin's Creed and the Rabid games will be the only two things. You have Rayman sitting there. Again, perfectly good franchise. I can go 2D or 3D because 3D Rayman. I'm whatever on the 2D games. But gosh, Rayman 2 was so good.
It was awesome. Yeah, I love that game.
It's so good. It's oh my god, it's like nearly like the perfect game. It's hard as hell, but it's so good. And it's just like and it's another company. Like, what are you guys doing? Like you're just putting the same crap out again.
They have developers from Criterion. They were the guys that made Burnout. They were making all sorts of experimental games. There's a lot of developers from Avalanche, people that created original people that created even before Avalanche, the Mercenaries games. Those were highlights on the Xbox because world destruction. You could destroy buildings and just you saw that in Just Cause. Now they have access to such phenomenal teams at Microsoft, such utter phenomenal teams. And they just give them the time, give them the money, let them experiment. Forza has 2 branches within it. Gran Turismo can't do that. Forza has Horizon, which is an absolute success, and the original Forza titles. They're just sitting on nothing.
No, even Need for Speed. I don't know who owns Need for Speed.
EA.
Okay, so that's also Xbox.
No. EA is
no.
independent. As soon as Activision got bought, apparently EA was like, "Please buy us."
Yeah.
Yeah. They're nuts. What EA should be doing is, if they had a soul, a game like FIFA. Like I said, just update the roster every year. It's basically what you did with the Wii versions of the game anyway, but by selling the disc. But I mean, really, just put out a FIFA update. Call it FIFA 2 or 3. Just redo it.
Bury NBA by bringing back NBA Live on Xbox.
Well, that's the thing. NBA
Bury it
Live.
Yeah, 2K games is done. Destroy all of 2K with a single swoop by bringing back amazing sports games that give you value for your money only on Game Pass. And you will single-handedly buy out Take-Two. It's just you'll destroy 2K, you'll destroy NHL. Just destroy them. It's for their taking. They literally could sit there and be like, "Hey man, you got people at Criterion. How would you make a basketball game? Do it. Just make something happen."
It should be easy peasy. I mean, like the problem these companies have when they keep releasing stuff every single year just to drive a profit, they come up with features and change things that just don't need to be changed.
Yeah.
Like that's why people go back and like, wow, FIFA 12 was like the best one. It's like, well, why? Because it had this, and that. We didn't have to add in all this other crap that was unnecessary, right? If you have a new mode you want to put in, like a new career mode thing, then just update the game or release DLC.
Imagine if they approached the studio that made Bloodstate with Iga from the ex-Konami guy from Castlevania.
For a Castlevania game. Or something.
Yeah. We're gonna license it from Konami and we'll give you the reins again. That's how much FU money Microsoft has.
Mhm.
They could literally license Metal Gear and ask Kojima Studios to make it.
Mhm.
That's how much FU money this company has. And what is it spending its time on? Looking at the most expensive thing to buy, Nintendo. And Valve. Oh, imagine if the Steam store. Yes. And it's just like, so you guys
There,
high?
there's
Are you
some
nuts?
serious mustache twirling
Right?
going on there.
It's
Like
just
the
like,
the lightning. What is it? The room's dark and the lightning in the background.
you know,
Yes.
people talk about the best E3 ever. There's great Nintendo E3 moments where Twilight Princess was revealed. There's moments where Miyamoto came out with the sword and shield. There's moments where Reggie brought out RE4. It's like there's that Iwata moment. Then there's like the E3 of Dreams where Sony just knocked it out of the park. Shenmue, Final Fantasy VII remake trailer, RE2's trailer, like killing it. Same E3, by the way, right? And everybody was freaking out. And everybody kept saying the same thing. Now, if only Half-Life came out, we'd be perfect. And again, it's just like, no, Valve is the same as Microsoft. Their focus is gone on that stuff. There's no money in it for them. And finally, some guys really pushed, and Half-Life Alyx came out, and it's spoilers, a continuation. It's not like a singular story, like a reboot, a repeat.
It's like VR or something, isn't it? That game?
It's in VR. Again, weird premise to sell their stupid VR headsets and push that whole narrative. But, it's so easy for Microsoft. Like, I don't understand how people keep harping on Nintendo and F-Zero. Oh, we need a new Mario game. We need a new this. We need a new that. It's just like, yeah, bro. But do you guys also play other franchises out there? Do you guys like Half-Life? Well, nobody's giving a crap about that. You like Gears of War? Nobody cares about that. Like, Microsoft sitting on half of all of Nintendo 64's charm. All of it is there. And nobody's talking about that because it's not an easy conversation to have. It's very easy to say, oh, Nintendo, they're Japanese, they're stubborn, they don't get it. But with Microsoft, it's just like, no, the problem is how Western developers think. It's a huge problem. Corporate greed is a huge issue.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the salaries between Bobby Kotick and what's his name? Is it Fujiwara? What's the Nintendo?
Fujiwara,
Is it?
Furukawa?
I think it's Furukawa
It's Furukawa.
Shintaro or something like that. Yeah, Furukawa. Sorry, yeah, and it's like he makes like only I think it's like $8 million
Yeah,
a year. Maybe it's 4 million. It's like something million, but it's for running
very,
Nintendo. It's nothing. It's
single
very
digits, I
meager.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
not even
Bobby
his
Kotick's got
bonus.
like 300 million or whatever. It's something so stupid.
And again, what does he do?
What does he do? Yeah, what does he do? He just says, "Oh, do this, that," and I would love to know what these guys do. I would really love to know what they're not product people. Again, I always bring him up. You guys are sick of hearing him. Steve Jobs, baby. He was in the trenches with those guys, with the design team.
Hey, Michael, big little, make it happen.
But that's literally
Yeah.
But think about it. But think about it. That's what he did, though, right? He did not go in, and I maybe Tim Cook does the same. I don't know. Steve was always in there, like, "Hey guys, look at the iPhone, just turns on." And he turns on the MacBook, and he's like, "Why does this take forever to turn on? Do something about it." These new MacBooks, these M1 MacBooks,
throws his peanut shells and pistachio shells.
Yeah. But what was he ever saying? "Hey guys, we need to make this money. No. It's always no. We need to make this product." And now these MacBook Airs, as soon as you open them up when you buy them, Asan, when you got your Pro, you open it up, boom,
on.
It turns on automatically, lightning fast. Took a while to get here, but it's here. He was a product guy. These other CEOs like Bobby Kotick, he's not a product guy.
No.
No, he's not a game guy. He's not a gamer, like you said. He
And,
just cares about the numbers, the bottom
Phil
line.
Spencer shows signs of brilliance, saying that Redfall just didn't need more time. Like the whole gameplay mechanic behind it was cursed.
Mhm.
He's a smart guy. He knows his video games. He knows. So I expect more from him. I expect things to be better.
It's disappointing when you see this because we joke about the Xbox and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Xbox. Xbox.
But it's like, come on, dude. That's how it feels. Not like, man, I hate this guy. It's more like, come on, man. We had high hopes. Can
Mhm.
Jim, what's his name? Jim Ryan or the Sony guys? I have no hopes for them because I think Sony's evil.
But I get
But-
it. I get why he was freaking out. But Jim Ryan didn't go and say, "Hey, you can only play Spider-Man 2 if you bought a copy of Spider-Man No Way Home." He didn't do anything stupid like that. They didn't care. They're doing their thing. Days of Play, like it or not, man. The biggest ethical good sign was like they gave away Uncharted Collection for free, digital. They gave away Horizon Zero Dawn for free.
That's
They were
fair.
just giving games away for anybody that had a PlayStation.
Mm.
I was like,
That's
oh, you
fair.
got it? Done. The PlayStation program, yes, now it's getting greedier and evil. But the PlayStation 5, when you first bought it, you got 10 PS4 games free.
Mhm.
If you're still on PS Plus. Oh, these are yours. Mortal Kombat 11, yours. This game, yours. And it's just like, whoa, that's the kind of stuff that builds this like trust. That's the kind of stuff that'll get you like Square Enix's attention to say, okay, Final Fantasy Rebirth is going to be exclusive 3 months, 6 months, however long for this platform. That's the kind of stuff that, gets Kojima to develop for you, specifically. And again, yeah, it's just don't ruin that goodwill. You can make mistakes, just don't make mistakes that seem like you were ethically trying to destroy your consumer base or take advantage of them.
Yeah.
F-Zero 99, I don't like it. I don't think F-Zero GX could be topped, but 99 is costing me no money. It is really good for what it is. It's free, and I had a lot of fun. Man, all right. I may not want this, but damn, I'm not gonna say it's a terrible decision or a terrible game. Even the Mario 99, the Tetris 99 series, people are like, oh, it's great. It's amazing. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. Unseen. Right now, Excite Bike is on Nintendo Switch. That's a great game. That's a game developed by Left Field. It's amazing. It's Left Field Productions, the guys that did Kobe Bryant Courtside. Left Field Productions did that game, and it is phenomenal.
It's really good.
And it's just like a gift. I'm not even worried. Like if they release Beetle Adventure Racing, another N64 EA exclusive game that was like it's in under so many licensing worries.
Mhm.
But I have more faith Nintendo will do it because they brought back GoldenEye. They hammered a deal out, man. And man, I got Banjo and Banjo Kazooie also playable on Switch Online. Microsoft somehow managed to let that one slide by. Did Nintendo announce, hey, you could play Game Pass on your Switch? No, because Nintendo knows. They're like, yeah. Give us the characters, give us what we want. We'll let you know what we think about you later. And I'm glad.
That decision paid off because now that the cat's out of the bag, that would have just been one step closer.
Yeah.
To having it,
And what are they gonna do? Let Nintendo make all the games, and all these guys are just gonna sit in their cushy butts, fire all the other studio people that they have? Yeah, we don't. We gotta downsize it. Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine, dude.
Dude,
That would be
every
like a
time
nightmare scenario. Really would.
Activision releases a game, there's always mass firings. Every time a Battlefield gets out, there's mass firings. Why? the game is selling better than ever. Do you hear the same stories happening at Insomniac? Nope. You hear the same stories happening at Naughty Dog. Even though, let's be honest, Last of Us Part 2, critical darling, but widely divisive and panned in some areas, especially Japan. Nope, they didn't say that. Ghost of Tsushima did as good as Days Gone. But one game got praise, one game will probably get a sequel, and one game won't. And Days Gone, despite its problems, despite all the things that people like, oh, it's at the end of the day, it's a terrible narrative game. It's terrible. The main character is trash. Garbage, dumpster. If that's the apocalypse, man, I want out. I can't.
I want my apocalypses nice. Yeah. Nice and narratively thrilling.
The character's so trashy. It's not even funny.
I mean, this Activision thing you mentioned, it goes all the way back to what is it, Modern Warfare 2,
Yeah,
right? That game comes out,
biggest success.
yeah, the back in 2009,
Yeah,
massive, biggest entertainment launch of all time. The two head guys, now, granted, it seems they were talking to EA,
yeah,
but the two head guys were fired. The two heads of Infinity Ward,
Yeah.
which is insane.
it's insane.
That's insane. They hit Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2. They were kind of scummy. Actually, not even kind of. They were very scummy, especially with Treyarch. How like
Yeah.
when Treyarch, what is it, released a Zombies DLC for World at War, and so they released like a trailer for Modern Warfare 2 the same day.
Yeah,
They were kind of like hyper nerds. So
but they knew what they were doing. They were good at it.
it just it seems a little bit weird, right? And a bunch of people quit and whatever and blah blah blah. This should be a time to celebrate.
Yeah, yeah.
And instead, that's why Modern Warfare 3 turned out the way it did. It's like it's a fine game.
Yeah.
Had the whole Infinity Ward had been there, it would have been much better.
Oh, of course, without a doubt. Without a
So-
doubt. It's very interesting to see, like, we want in America, Europe, we want no creative leads or sort of like stuff to like pigeonhole us in a thing. Like, oh, only this guy could do it. But we don't have the sustainability to have a franchise continuously keep coming out with new and innovative ideas. We think everything is replaceable. Everything's a panel. Oh, we can replace this person with this person with that person. And that turnover is starting to affect things. In Japan, you're not gonna like it, but people don't leave the game industry that quickly. There's people in Nintendo that have worked on the N64 that are still working there right now. There's people in Platinum Games that worked on the original RE1 and 2. They're still working. They still have good terms. There's constant learning, and that's where the creativity lies. It's not in their executive branches. It's not in their marketing. If games are good, people will buy them.
Yeah, people underestimate like how important. Well, I mean, for a lot of things, but especially for games, like word of mouth is huge. Like if someone says this is a good game, get it. You're gonna be like, okay, this is a good game. I'm gonna get it.
You know,
like,
It's as simple as that, really. I mean, it works.
You know, Baldur's Gate, again, for a PC game. Everybody's pirating PC games, blah, blah, blah. Selling like crazy. It did well, got acclaim. People can't stop talking about it to the point where I'm sick of that game. People like it. Starfield, not that bad of a game, man. Not that bad. People
Doing
are talking
very well.
about it, right?
Especially
Sea of
here.
Stars, phenomenal.
Mhm.
I just can't believe it. Quake 2 was a gift to the world. Came out remastered. Amazing.
We still have to finish that, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We do. We gotta finish that one.
We
part.
gotta wrap this up. This is gonna be This is longer than Joe Rogan's podcast.
That's good. It's a long one.
It's
a
the
return to
GPA
form.
GPA
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Well,
This is-
you know, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I think we kind of hit all the nails on the head. Make good games. Don't sit on IPs. Constantly create new stuff.
yeah,
Not everything's gonna work, like you said. That's all right.
that's all right, man. That's completely all right. And yeah, I just hope Tokyo Game Show goes well. Is there anything excited? We'll close with that you're looking forward to for Tokyo Game Show.
I don't even know. I mean, that Persona trailer came out. I was hyped about that. It was good.
Tekken, they showed Fang,
Mhm.
one of the characters. Nintendo is not going to show anything. Level 5 may show stuff from Layton and a little bit of Deca Police and stuff.
Mhm.
Just standard stuff with Tokyo Game Show. There's no Nintendo presence.
When is it, by the way? It's like
This weekend.
September.
This weekend.
It's
tomorrow.
we were gonna go. Yeah, September.
Yeah,
Yes.
this weekend
Yeah.
is the weekend.
Mhm.
But we're holding
this
out for
weekend.
something even more
When
special.
when is this free weekend? It's this weekend.
It's this
Yeah.
weekend.
How much will it cost? It's free.
Hey, free.
And when is it?
This this weekend. I see, but how much will it cost? It's free. Uh-huh.
And when is this free weekend?
You're going to loop for that. Great reference. Great reference. But,
Nice.
Well,
we're holding out for something better, hopefully by January.
Mhm.
And some big changes happening here in our podcast and our channel.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We're
that's
going,
I guess
we're
that's-
going
which-
full punk, and like
which-
everyone next
They're
weekend
gonna
has
become
mohawks. yeah,
which we'll announce at a later date.
we're
Yeah,
going
sooner date.
abstract. Like, yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. And none of our
Uh,
videos make sense. You have to interpret everything.
Interpretive dance.
Oh god.
Never seen this stuff before.
He looks angry when he plays. No, but this anger is actually happiness. He's angry at how happy he is. Yes, of course.
This represents the corporate greed of the Microsoft executives. Of course,
Of
wouldn't have seen that
It's
before.
green. Xbox, it's green. The money. It was right in front of our faces.
Final question. Anybody buying the adorably digital Xbox?
Yeah,
On
I've already got a
fence.
Series S. I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, same.
Because it's like that's the whole thing of the X, right? It's like supposed to be like, oh, this is your alternative. But if it's just exactly the same,
No, it's more powerful. It's the Series
yeah, I
X.
guess, yeah.
But
it's
you
like
know,
that's one of
X.
the main draws, right? Is that you can also play physicals on the X, like
yeah.
Yes. And well, like I said, I don't know why it's not cheaper. If it was cheaper, I would consider it.
Mhm.
But now I kind of want to get an original one out of spite to have a
Mhm.
disc drive, even though I won't probably get any digital or disc-based games,
Yeah.
just as a way to be like, hey,
this is
I
what
don't
people
like
actually
this.
want. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, Sony's going that route too, right? They
Mhm.
literally have a discless PS5 rumored
Mhm.
to come out, where you can attach the Blu-ray drive.
yeah,
They do this all the time, but to be very honest, there's no infrastructure for an all digital storefront and stuff to exist, like it or not.
not yet.
They did it with the PS Vita, or a version of the PSP where
Yeah,
it was just
PSP
all
Go.
go, and people hated it. Retailers stopped carrying it. So, physical media still matters. And, if you appreciate Japan and all the game stores and all this stuff, there's no way it's gonna die or it's gonna survive here. That stuff will not. And a lot of stuff is digital. Day one digital is great. Maybe staggered releases where we're delaying the inevitable, where everything's digital. But I'd like to think that there's certain companies that won't give up on it. Nintendo, Sega, Atlas, Sega always do their big collector's editions. They always do these like physical releases, and I'm glad. I'm absolutely glad. Turns out, porting stuff to the cartridge is cheaper still.
Mm.
Who knew? Many years later, we would be having this problem. I thought Blu-rays and DVDs were cheap. I thought making physical media was cheap. But again, hogwash. Switch cartridges are readily available everywhere, and now we're debating whether to release stuff on Blu-ray, which is supposedly very low manufacturing cost. Just cut the corporate greed, man. The globalist and
You
the
gotta
reign of
stop 'em.
terror.
Yeah,
Yeah, they need to be
Gotta-
stopped.
Stop the globalists. I think it's a good message to end on.
Mhm, mhm.
Thanks for watching, everyone, in our globalist-filled global podcast X.
of global. Yeah.
We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for making it this far. We'll see you guys later. Take care.
Peace. Bye.